Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm. You are well, Endwalker's coming soon, so we'll probably be back weekly podcast. It's different name every week. Mediator, just all the stuff. It's here. All right, we're talking about it. You don't care. We got to get started. That's all that matters. Hi, I'm Haps. Sly's here. What's up, Sly? How you doing, Sly?
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm here.
He's here. Yeah. Good interview, by the way, Sly. Post it on your YouTube channel, please. Anyway, I'm asking you. Please do it. You had a good one. All the deep dungeon people were really excited about your interview, Sly. That's it. That's all I gotta know. Okay.
Nobody's excited about Koi Koi, but
nope, not a single person, myself included. We also have some.
Fuck you.
Not a single person. Oh, my title didn't update, by the way. I'll fix that. But anyway, also we have a couple guests because Sly and I are definitely not enough to handle this all on our own. So first, bringing on healer extraordinaire, the person who will tell you, hey, Scholar's not doomed. It's Momo.
You actually stole my intro. I was actually going to say the exact same thing.
So what is your intro now?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think. You know, my name's Momo. I play healer. I mean, I play everything but Bard and some casters. So
Scholar Burr.
Scholar go Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom. Yeah.
Zoom. There we go. All right, well, welcome. And for the first time on State of the Realm, though, I have had the privilege of doing a show with them in the past over on Mog Talk. We have Stal. We have the Bard extraordinaire, the person who is cheering for that job. And I'm excited to have her here. Hi, Stal.
Hi, I'm Stal. I only play Bard and nothing else.
That's not true. I've seen you play other things sometimes.
Sometimes, but not at a really good level, I would say. Mainly range player, yeah.
Stal, underselling yourself right at the get-go. I know that life. I never sell myself well enough, right, Sly?
Right.
Sly tries to get
it's a lot of
it's
a lot of self-deprecation here. So
definitely, I completely agree with that. Before we get started, we do have a couple things. One, we'll be using this scene again. This scene's been getting a lot of use for State of the Realm with the giant thing in the middle, because Sly made some very nice graphics for some of the changes and the tooltips that we'll be going over. So we'll be going to those one at a time once we actually get started. Thank you, Sly, for compiling that. I was going to do it, and then I realized Sly's was better. So I just let him do it instead, which is usually the case whenever we both do something.
Hey.
Speaking of A, Momo's picture. I'm a fan. Always.
Hey. That's me when I see Scholar isn't dead.
Well, I'm glad that you can.
Oh, you had no idea how satisfying it was. I saw after that job trailer, I had to go into the bounce, just kind of type like essays left and right, telling people to calm down. It's not that bad. Relax. It's just a job trailer. It was so satisfying.
I can't wait to talk about that later in the show. But first, we do have a couple sponsors. We don't have to spend too long on this because, as I said in the pre-show, I don't know if they even care how this actually goes. Sly was like, "Oh my God, please just let our sponsors just do a good job, Haps." And I'm like, "I'm doing a good job. I'm just being casual about it." Thank you to Steel Series for sponsoring. We will be starting the weekly giveaways again soon for those, or the monthly giveaways. Sorry, we're not weekly giveaways. It's too much. But they've been supporting the channel. They've been supporting the podcast for years now. And, of course, we have the discount code, the link. But we will be doing giveaways again, probably starting in November itself proper. We'll be doing monthly giveaways for Steel Series hardware. So thank you to them. Also, thank you to our sponsors over on Patreon who support. They don't get anything extra for doing it. They just do it because they want to. And we love them for that. So thank you to them. Thank you to Steel Series again. And with that, let's get started. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a quick discussion before the show started, what role we wanted to start with, because we're just going over Mediator stuff, sharing our thoughts, sharing our perspectives, especially after having a few more days to digest it and see community response. We agreed to tanks. So fair?
Yep.
Start with tanks?
Yep.
Cool.
Start in. Everybody got TBN. All right, let's go to DPS.
Not wrong. We'll start with Dark Knight in particular. I've got the Dark Knight one up on this because I think we need to do Dark Knight first. I think if we save this for later, we got to get this out of the way. We got to do Dark Knight first. So Sly, they didn't get a new TBN. They got something new, but it's not. They had TBN already.
Yeah.
So how would you summarize Dark Knight?
A mini TBN?
I mean, Dark Knight got less defensively than the other tanks. However, they got some very serious like burst windows now.
Mhm.
Like Shadowbringer being on a 2 charge means that you're going to have a practically 1200 potency line AoE every 2 minutes, ideally, because you're not gonna do it on cooldown just because you can hold it for every 2-minute burst window, which is your bigger windows. Then you have that self-detonate Salt and Darkness on the Salted Earth, which is very strong 500 potency. Now that can change
with
as well.
no fall off. Also,
yeah,
very important.
It's very strong, especially in AoE. Oblation, it's definitely probably a bit weaker than like something like, I don't know, Bloodwetting from Warrior, or like Intervention, but it is on 2 charges, which gives it some kind of versatility because you could technically do it like back to back, which might be like nice in some scenarios.
Yeah, Dark Knight's never been one that I really resonated with as a tank, but I don't look at this and think terrible, but I do look at the other tanks, and it's kind of got, I think Dark Knight's the scholar of the tanks right now, more than anything else. It's, they didn't get, because every other tank, like you said, they got a TBN. Dark Knight's like, I've been living this life for years now, and everyone's like, yeah, but that's old shit. We don't care. We don't care at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with this. I'm probably still not going to play it. But you talk about the Shadow... Also calling the skill Shadowbringer, not to mention. Being 600 in a line. I do then... When we get to the other tanks, I'm less excited when I think of Shadowbringers. Just because I get to Gunbreaker. And there's... They got something pretty juicy themselves, too.
The main thing to keep in mind about Shadowbringer that the other tanks don't really compare to is that it's off GCD. Now, off GCDs are... Technically, I view them as a little bit stronger, especially for like burst windows, just because the issue with GCDs is that you can only use them every 2.5 seconds. With these off GCDs, you can weave them between every GCD, which gives you more damage under that very short period of time. So something like, I don't know, like Warriors, big, smackdown hit, or like Paladins, like, Confiteor combo. It's not necessarily on the same playing field just because those are GCD combos. Whereas Shadowbringers and Salt and Darkness are both off GCD. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes complete sense. Do you think that because Warrior... We'll talk again about Warrior in a little bit, but you mentioned Warrior's big hit being on the GCD, Dark Knight's being off. Generally, all of Dark Knight's new stuff being off. Do you think that gives them a more distinctive playstyle between Warrior and Dark Knight? That's been a huge talking point for the past couple of years, mostly because of Delirium and Inner Release. And we still kind of see that here. But do you feel like Dark Knight and Warrior kind of have a more distinguished difference now with them being more off-global focused?
I never thought they were the same, honestly. They both, like, if you've ever played Dark Knight and Warrior, especially like at that, higher level, they do have distinct, differences, right? Like, the playstyle of Dark Knight, it's very heavy off-global cooldown based. It's very tight on like mana management, especially when you're trying to like maximize your Edge of Darknesses under like raid buffs, for example. Warrior's very GCD focused. They don't really have as many off GCDs. Now that's technically kind of changing, I think, in Endwalker, because they have Onslaught, which is like a 3 charge now, and you're still going to be spamming up people, I think.
Absolutely. Stal, how much tanking do you do out of curiosity? Because I saw you're actually you were leveling a tank on. Was it Gaia?
On light.
On light. There it is.
Yes, because of the Uwu female group. But I actually don't really play tank. The only tank I played was Dark Knight. But I only played it for like a couple days. I'm just sad that Blood Weapon is still 10 seconds. Yeah. I think that's it's so stupid. How did they fix the volume? I forgot about Blood Weapon.
Yeah.
And the whole Unleash thing is still being under spell speed. It's like, oh my god.
So
how?
So yeah, Stal brings in a few other points about Dark Knight still. It still does have several things that are associated as spells, especially their AoE, which, if anyone wasn't aware, skill speed and spell speed work on weapon skills and magic separately. And it means sometimes they have a 2.5 GCD and sometimes they have their skill speed playing into effect, whether they have any or not. And that does factor into this and one other tank that does make for some important optimization. So, how against blood weapons staying the same are you, Momo?
I do think it's an issue. Even though it's not as much of an issue for me as like other people, I do think that something like that is detrimental to the game's health. I don't know why it wasn't changed or fixed to be the same as like every other buff in the game, because from my understanding, blood weapon isn't actually 10 seconds. It's actually like a little bit less than 10 seconds because of the way it activates. So like I don't know why that's a thing. If anybody ever hears this, please change blood weapon.
And I guess another thing to consider, small thing, disclaimer again, as if we haven't had these in every fucking video that's come out this week. Nothing's final. So
Yes.
Yeah.
It says it on the screen, but Sly's gonna say it out loud for you in case you can't see it.
Yeah. So I kind of agree. I hope they kind of make that change because it seems kind of odd for them not to even touch it.
It is strange, and Stal, we'll get into yours and my territory a little bit later. Obviously, there's a bit of an overlap with this issue, and it is strange because it seems that the explanation given to it is mostly that they don't want every job to be on that exact same charge or stack system because then everything feels the same. And you get it, but it's also kind of griefing that it's not that way at the same time. Do you think there's any merits to we just don't want everything to be exactly the same kind of point that we have?
I think it would also be fine if they just made it the same as every other 10-second buff in the game. I don't know why it's not the same as every other 10-second buff in the game.
Okay, there you go. That's it. Definitive. There you go. Let's see. And I do know that my volume is always lower. It's because my mic is over here, and I move around like an idiot. So that's all that is. So apologies. All right, I'll probably do some everyone sounds fine to me, but I'll do some audio checks all the same.
No, don't turn me down. I'm sorry.
He's gonna start whispering after I've done it, and that's it. Okay, so Dark Knight, I think we can say we've kind of just hit all the major points. I think we should just move right into Warrior then. I think all the rest of the actually I think Paladins could be a discussion, but Warrior I think is probably the least discussable of all of them. Inner releases 3 stacks, they get an extra skill, it's on 60-second cooldown, and Beast Gauge was untied to a bunch of stuff, essentially.
There is one actual, there's like 2 things that I guess that kind of make Warrior different now, right? Because like as far as I know, IR is still the same as it functions today. Like it still does crit direct hits, right?
Yeah, but it only affects the weapon skills now. Does not affect the OGCDs, does not affect the auto attacks. It only affects the GCDs that you're using now.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. My only concern with that kind of stuff is that so as of today, Warrior is that job that kind of doesn't basically because IR is on a 60-second cycle now, it's going to be technically worse today or worse in Endwalker when it comes to critical hit buffs, direct hit buffs like that. It's going to get less value because right now it's on a 90-second cooldown, which means your 2-minute windows are actually okay for like that kind of situation. In Endwalker, it's going to line up with like every single chain. It's going to line up with every single battle voice. It's going to line up with every single litany. So in those situations, it's going to be a bit odd, and I wonder how they're going to bounce around that, if they're going to bounce around that.
See, for me, since we have Warrior and Dark Knight, I want to bring up a topic that I think we could bring up for a lot of other jobs, but we'll touch on it now so we can maybe save some time. There's some cursed shit going around of what might be optimal and what might not be. And Warrior is on that list.
No, stop.
The pre-pull at 15-second inner release because it lasts 30 seconds now. So you can pre-pull.
Yeah, I saw that. I kind of hope that's not a thing just because like that's something they don't want to do in the first place. Like they've ever since Heavensward, right? They've strayed away from pre-pull stuff, right? Like they got rid of Aether Flow, or they got rid of Aether Flow pre-pull. They got rid of cards pre-pull. I'm sure you remember, good old double balance pulls back in Heavensward.
I mean, yeah, but we have it in a different way kind of now. Like now in Shadow. It's just you don't it's not a specific card. Actually, no, I've had to jump off for Astro still this expansion. What am I talking about?
I mean, you still have to pre-pull a card, but like it's not the same effect, right? Like, back in Heaven's Word, if you didn't pull back-to-back balance cards, you just wait until you got that double balance. So it's kind of
I've waited around for 5 minutes before for that. Definitely have. But I mean, it's a rising topic. There's a lot of theory crafting going on into that stuff on fights where it could actually get you an extra one versus and still being in line with buffs, basically giving windows to people who may be more forgetful to like still remember to hit them. Or there's like a whole bunch of benefits to it. And I'm seeing all sorts of. I mean, I came up with a Cursed Monk opener for the exact same thing, and I was like, okay, at least it's only Monk. And now as time has gone on, I'm seeing pre-pull Delirium, pre-pull Mechio, pre-pull Inner Release, pre-pull obviously still Astro, one card. Like I'm seeing all this curse shit that's starting to come out because this stuff is usable outside of combat, and Warrior is not immune to this apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Like, it's a lot of people like to use our DPS as like a metric for tanks, but in my opinion, a DPS is way more important, especially for things like Dark Knight, where Dark Knight's like actually the lowest rate DPS tank, but in the right environment, in like the right group, Dark Knight is very, very strong. Arguably the second best tank ahead of Paladin in terms of DPS. And it also depends on comp, of course.
Yes, and the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
Some fights are more conducive to that. But, I mean, Warrior is just... The other thing is, the difference between Warrior and Dark Knight is the amount of sustain that all the other tanks seem to have gotten, and then they still just looked at TBN and went, yeah, we don't care about you. For Dark Knight.
And that's a good point, actually, because Bloodwedding and Instant Flash, it's kind of funny because I see some people complain about it, because, like, I guess it, like, ruins, like, the HPS optimization of Warrior. But, like, if I was a Warrior, I'd be like, ecstatic, like, because now it's just a flat 400 potency per hit, which means it also scales with HP increasing effects like or HP increasing actions like Nature's Men, Thrill of Battle, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's very strong.
Yeah, and not to mention they got a regen added to Equilibrium. They still have Path, which is always there, and they'll still be using this with Infuriates and Primal Rend and stuff. So
yeah, I don't know what they were thinking about Warrior. They looked absolutely disgusting from a defensive standpoint.
And that's in line with the way they are now.
Yeah.
So you're leveling Warrior. Are you actually playing Warrior? Why are you?
Not right
No.
Not right now. I'm kind of trying to focus on red mage.
I did say stall, but you too, Sly, I guess.
Oh.
I thought you said Sly. I couldn't hear it. Yeah, I had to get turned down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Warrior and Uru actually. I have no idea how this job works.
I don't think you'll have that bad of a time. I think you'd be fine on tanks.
You think? I'm so worried about pulling bosses, like specifically Garuda.
Garuda's a little toxic because she's small, but
it
could be worse. There's certainly worse things that can happen than Garuda not being in the exact spot. Because after the beginning, it's fine, but I think you'll be fine, Stall. Stall, you are a good player. Just tell yourself that, okay?
I try my best.
World second T extraordinaire.
World second T. I try my best.
No, don't.
No, that was not on Warrior. I'll say. I'll lean into your self-deprecation. I can't say. Fuck it. We're moving on.
Self-deprecation.
I couldn't say. I kept wanting to say deprecation. And I tried 3 times and I gave up. That's it. That's all there's to it. So yeah, Warrior I think is looking pretty sick. Moving on to Paladin. Also, I'm actually a huge fan of the Paladin stuff. I mean, I like most of the tank stuff, but Paladin's my favorite tank personally. And so when I saw some of their... Oh, actually, we missed a big thing with Warrior. Home Gang's 10 seconds in the...
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. Yeah,
I don't agree with that decision at all.
I don't either. Not if it's the same. Like, I don't know. That's completely mind-boggling to me.
Chances are not final.
It's good, but it's like I feel like that's pretty unbalanced.
I would also agree, because then we go on to Paladin, and Paladin's like, hey, does that mean I go to 12? And they're like, no. It doesn't. It doesn't mean that at all. Not that I think that would even really fix the imbalance with home being 10, because I think 10 seconds is more than enough for anything. But
the thing with home being too is where it's not as obvious if you haven't like been put in a situation where it requires it, but you can actually home gang after busters have already registered versus hollowed ground, which you need to register before the cast ends because of the way the effect on home gang works.
Yeah.
It's really prevalent like Uwu, where like if you're taking like the fire breath from like Ifrit, you don't have to home gang as tightly as like something like Super Bolite or hollowed ground.
Oh, Stal's already here in home gang and Uwu, and she's just like,
oh, sorry, spoilers, my bad.
I'm gonna die. I think it was a spoilers issue. But she's now thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to do that, huh?
Do I really have to?
There's a good chance you'll be doing that.
Oh,
there's a good chance.
That's not the one that you need to. Honestly, though, the other big home gang is not that bad. The homing missile and the etheroplasm. That one's not so bad.
I'd say fire.
I totally know how that works.
You'll be all right. There's a little bit of tank swapping in the last phase. Stall.
I have no idea how to tank swap.
You press provoke and they shirk you, and then when they provoke you, you shirk them. There you go. Pro. Done. All right.
Yes.
I have trust.
I understand.
I trust. So moving on to Paladin. Paladin I've seen more discussion about Paladin and Gunbreaker than I have seen about the other tanks. Most people are just looking at Dark Knight and Warrior and either complaining about enhanced unmend for Dark Knight, which is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen, or it's Warriors. Oh, Warrior looks insane now, like you just said. Yeah. But Paladins I'm seeing are like, you may have just put us in a pretty weird predicament. So like, we like Holy Sheltron, we like Intervention. Cover should be less gauge than it is now. And then I see them get into the new combos. They have the new combo after Confiteor that ends with the big AoE dot with Blade of Valor. But they're spells. So Paladins who optimize now are looking like, oh, so 3 more skills that aren't affected by my skill speed. How does that affect my burst window? And I've seen some non-stop discussion about maybe just straight up abandoning 2 Holy Spirits inside of Request Cat and stuff like that.
I don't think it should affect anything because that's how it works today. So I don't necessarily think it's going to change too much.
Well, right now apparently you abandon 1 Holy Spirit was the discussion.
Yeah, if you're doing a 60-second cycle, you do it with the 4 or 5 flight atonement windows. You drop in a Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and it seems the discussion is now you'll drop 2 Holy Spirits.
Yeah,
and apparently they're in uproar about that. They're like, "Stop making me cast less."
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that actually feels. One actually really cool thing is that Holy Spirit now procs Divine Veil, so now we no longer have to GCD heal.
See, I was wondering if it did because I didn't know if it counted as a spell effect for the sake of Divine Veil. That was the one thing I didn't get to test, was whether or not it did. So I'm glad somebody did. Also, the fact that they have all that healing. I think my biggest problem with Paladin is your spells still break your combo. I don't like that.
Oh, really?
I've never I tested
that's
that.
weird.
Clemency breaks your combo now, and I tested it will still break your combo.
Really?
Yes.
Even after the changes to ranged?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I made sure to test
with a lot of other jobs getting... Yeah, with a lot of other jobs getting that, nothing will break most things won't break your combo treatment. Yeah. For them to not do that for Paladin is kind of weird.
Oh, they did it for Shield Lob.
Yeah, that's sort of, maybe it's just because like their ranged abilities are more impactful than the other ones because they're actually like pretty damage heavy. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
I just want to be able to save the raid with a Clemency and finish my combo. That's all I'm asking for. I want to have the freedom to do it. I've never liked that it destroys the combo, especially when I'm doing Paladin solos. If I'm like, oh shit, Clemency, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not finishing this Royal Authority then. I guess I'll just abandon that. So there's, I think there's still some kinks to work out, but really it's Hallowed Ground and the spells. But other than that, I mean, I love this. I fucking love this for Paladin. I'm all about anime swords everywhere.
Yeah, the animations are beautiful.
I just like that it's how anime it is. I don't even care about the anime. It's just you just feel anime as fuck while you're doing it. Also, Spirits Within not being HP scaling anymore.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad that's gone. That should have been gone last expansion.
The only reason why it was like that, right? Voice, I'm gonna need you, please.
Because upheaval and right.
No, in Final Fantasy 11, Spirits Within scaled with HP.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually, I guess Spirits Within existed before Upheaval. Upheaval is technically a copy of Spirits Within.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they took it off Upheaval and then didn't take it off Spirits Within. But
yeah.
So, yeah.
There's something I want to talk about Paladin, but I can't remember.
Blocking, Holy Sheltron, Intervention, Blade of Valor, spells, weapon skills, dot potency, gauge, still being defensive. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that you need to talk about. I mean, the self-healing from, like you said, with Holy Spirit, the Veil interaction, Veil healing also.
Yeah, the Veil heal is kind of that's actually a good comparison because Shake also got the same treatment.
Yeah.
Where except it's on 300 potency. The difference though is Veil is more restrictive in a way because currently sometimes you want to proc a Veil, and like you'll use Veil like X seconds before actual damage goes out. I think a good example actually is Ultima, where like you'll use Divine Veil after like the Ultima cast going into Ultima phase in Uwu, and then you'll proc it right as it's about to fall off, so it comes up again like really early on in that phase. That kind of situation is going to be much different than like Shake, because Shake you just usually press it right before like damage goes out and you get the healing effect. Veil's not going to work the same.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to add some interesting like a dichotomy between the two.
Yeah. Apparently another one here, Request Cat. Make spells instant without a trait now. So at level 70 in Ukab and Uwu, you'll have instant stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's considerable. That's definitely up there. I think actually a lot of jobs got some really good stuff for the old ultimates across the board. I can't really think of one that got super screwed by it, at the very least.
Yeah.
So that definitely plays in. People saying we didn't talk about Living Dead, and that's very deliberate.
Wow. I mean, Living Dead, I don't think it's going to be as bad next expansion. Like, the issue of Living Dead this expansion is that they removed 2 vital resources for healing Living Dead, Convalescence and Soul Survivor. Both those 2 Soul Survivor is more niche, but sometimes it did attribute to healing Living Dead, Walking Dead. And then they removed those 2 and also increased the maximum HP pools of all the party members to make healing quote unquote harder. But they didn't add anything to like circumvent that change for Dark Knight. So Dark Knight strictly got harder to heal this expansion than the previous ones, on top of like the increase to HP, which is really weird to me. I don't know why they didn't kind of like compensate for that.
Yeah, a lot of people have wondered if there was something they could do with. Some people just say throw a healing potency increase in on it just to make it easier. I saw one suggestion where someone said that your max HP should be lowered to 50% when you activate it, so it takes less heals to get you back to max or something like that. I was like, all right, weird idea, but I see the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I think just adding like a convalescence effect, or less than a convalescence, more like a Nature's Min where it affects all healing, probably would have been much better.
Yeah.
But it's a weird ability right now.
It's been a weird ability forever. And I wonder what keeps them from changing it. Or I wonder like what internally makes them go.
Lore. Isn't it true? I thought Zeno had a interview with them and he was like, it's because of the lore.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, let me be clear about something. That is not stopping them with other changes they do. Astro not having a nocturnal sect is a big lore thing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. They literally have me and then neutral. And it's like, wait, why is this called neutral? Am I not always neutral now? Is neutral not just my state of being? So, yeah. And then we know that they're actually, I think they said in a Dengeki interview today that they have to change some of the summoner quests to reflect the changes that they're doing. Like, they cannot leave it exactly the same as it is. So I don't think lore is a fine enough reason anymore. Yeah, monks getting chakra at level 15 when they're pugilists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we can throw lore out the window as a good answer, or as an answer. Period.
I mean, I guess you're right too, because they could just technically I mean, even just make it a trait, right? Like in Endwalker, it's a very big, I feel like it's pretty common that they're not really getting rid of abilities anymore, more so than either adding another button to by transforming it, or just upgrading it completely via trait. So I guess there's really no reason for them to be like, after like level X or like whatever quest or, whatever they decide to do, just have like a trait that increases the restoration effects, dealt upon you whenever you're in Walking Dead.
I'm waiting for the TBN evolution where it's like salt and darkness, where you can react it. Like it either explodes naturally when it blows up, or you can press it again to blow it up for damage or something. I'm waiting on that change.
Wildfire, but shield.
I get hit 6 times, it blows up. Perfect. I gotta time this with the boss autos and tank busters.
Hey, I mean, we have healer wildfire, we have DPS wildfire, now we just need tank wildfire.
There you go. Makes perfect sense. Speaking of tank, last one is Gunbreaker. And this one I've actually seen some concern over. So the biggest thing is Gunbreaker is almost 100% identical. They're that confident in their design. They made Gnashing Fang combo, 1 button. Super Bowl, I'd last 10 seconds now. And then they gave them a 2-cart spender, gave them a 3rd cart. Bloodfest takes 3 carts and a follow-up to Burst Strike. And then they upgraded whatever and gave Aurora a 2nd charge. They just the standard stuff that they did. But apparently, like, Gunbreakers are going like their burst window doesn't work for the job anymore or something. I'm starting to see.
Really?
Yeah, I'm seeing like people saying like Bloodfest on pull into Gnashing Fang to get everything else inside of like buffs.
What? Yeah. That's kind of what you do now. Which like that's the commonly called like the raid DPS opener, where you do like Bloodfest first GCD into like Gnashing Fang second. It's almost similar. Gunbreaker is probably the one I know the least about, just because I agree that like Gunbreaker was like the perfect. It's like pretty much the perfect job as it is now. Some people might not like continuation. I think that's that's a fair argument, but like outside of like that, I think it's pretty much perfect. So I'm actually kind of happy. I was actually really worried about Gunbreaker going into Endwalker, because I thought they were going to like really mess it up by like trying to like change the way the job worked. So I'm actually kind of glad it works the same. I'm not too familiar with the burst windows though.
Yeah, apparently it's just a matter of trying to fit double down Burst Strike OG, because now you also have OGCDs on Burst Strike that you need to fit. You still need to remember, like, I'm worried about players who aren't like super experienced, because right now we see when someone new picks up Gunbreaker and they're like, yo, I got continuation, sweet. It's like, bro, you have defensives. You know that.
That's like the argument that I like when people ever ask me. Like, I usually tell people, play whatever job you want to play, because like if you like playing that job, you're going to master it in one way or another. But yeah, Gunbreaker and Dark Knight do have technically a little bit of a higher skill ceiling for new players, or floor for new players, because they have to get used to weaving their defensive with their offensive. And both Gunbreaker and Dark Knight have lots of offensive off global cooldowns, especially like in their burst windows. So that can interfere with their thinking sometimes. And also Gunbreaker has continuation, which I think does take a little bit of skill to get used to. And when maneuvering the boss, because like you can definitely tell when you have like a less experienced tank in your group when they're on Gunbreaker, and you just see like the boss start taking like geometry lessons and going like at like 45-degree angles.
Sounds like Fatebreaker when I see Gunbreakers trying to move Fatebreaker. Yeah, that can be a time. I am curious though how much of their final raid tier design carries over, because hitboxes were pretty big deliberately in the most recent raid tier, and I think that helped with a lot of those kinds of movements, especially for players just getting into raiding. So I'm curious how much that'll carry over into the next expansion, because I thought that was a great raid change for Eden's Promise. But yeah, Gunbreakers are a little scared, but they're also like 1200 potency every minute. So do I really give a shit? I suppose. That's it.
It's AoE and it has the least amount of fall. It's actually almost similar to Misery in Fall Off, where it's only 20% versus like a lot of other tanks, which are like 50%.
Really stupid. I don't think that potency survives. I think the warning label that Sly put on the thing should have had maybe more to double down. It's stronger than Technical Step now too, I think, because I know they lowered Technical Step. I don't remember if it was under 1200, but if not, it's really close. So, yeah, your Gunbreaker's going to be hitting as hard as your fucking Dancers are at this point in a guaranteed buff window every time. Not to mention,
I think something else to know about Gunbreaker is that they have Aurora, which is honestly, at least in my opinion, I think it's the hardest defensive healing tool to kind of utilize, just because it's regen based and Regens are very hard to maximize upon, and they are also very prone to overheal, especially to like inexperienced players.
Yeah, and I have 2 stacks of it, so they got to get a little bit more used to it. The Heart of Corundrum, not Conundrum, which I have said.
So you had that happen, huh?
Yeah, I sure did. Heart of Conundrum.
Oh wait, it isn't Conundrum? Oh, it's Corundum.
It's Corundum,
yeah.
It's Corundum.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was Conundrum too.
Wow.
Because you heard me say it, and then you just took it's like tomestones and tombstones. People just change words. That's it. Yeah, it's Corundum, which is like it's like a crystal or a stone or something, like the rest of their kit, like Heart of Stone, Heart of Corundum. I don't like that word. Change it. That's it. Change it. I'm asking. Yeah, and they have like a mini XCOG on it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why everyone was mad at Dark Knight, because they didn't get any. They just got TBN. Oh no, only TBN. But all the tanks pretty simple. I think almost anyone will be able to just pick it up. That's a big thing that I noticed with all the jobs, even with all the curse shit people are figuring out. It's just as easy to figure out some not curse shit and just do that instead. And not really kill yourself. I wonder if there's going to be a big divide between people who do curse shit and people who don't do curse shit if they don't fix it. Because the curse stuff is like, it's a gain, but I don't think it's like so monumental. It's like something you would do if you were parsing.
Most people don't care, but yeah, most people like we could talk about like, you know, burst windows and optimization as much as we want. Most people, they don't really care for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a very like probably like small like percent, maybe like 10-20% of the population of 14, maybe even less than that, you know.
Yeah, I think so. I think to Monk and Notman as curse shit.
Yeah,
like that's.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not.
Or Black Mage AI rotation. I don't do that.
Yeah, that's also pretty cursed. Yeah, but there's I think a big takeaway, even just looking at the tanks, is a lot of this stuff I think we see and we don't think of curse shit, and I think that's probably the intention. And I'm glad that they seem to function just.
Wow.
It all makes sense. Stop.
I could tell you about the cursed 6-edge 2-minute burst windows on Dark Knight, but yeah, that's pretty cursed.
Don't tell me. There's no more curse shit for Warrior. You're gonna scare Stal. Anyway.
I just hear her soul leaving the body. Doing good.
You also technically want to pull like on a server tick for Dark Knight too, so they get an extra edge of shadow.
That's not Warrior, Stal. They don't.
Yeah, it's not Warrior. You're fine.
But Dark Knight's my favorite thing.
Oh.
Well, then just pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's
never heard
like
this.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have 70-second Infuriate openers anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. So
yeah, back in the good old days.
Yeah.
You would used to.
God.
In speed kills, you would use to Infuriate, and if you didn't pull a balance, you would wait another 60 seconds and Infuriate again until you got that balance when it lined up with Infuriate. Oh, it was awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think I started Stormblood.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do it. Alright, so tanks, I go with that. Healers, so oddly enough, when we move on to healers, there's a mix of, there's both a lot to talk about, and also, I feel like it's more addressing kind of people's concerns and less about actually needing to say a whole lot, if that makes sense. Because, like, going into White Mage, Thin Air is probably the most important change, question mark, other than their new stuff, I guess. Thin
Air is both, it has more negatives than positives when it comes to the change. The only positive for Thin Air is that you can now space out raises during progression better, because it's not locked to a 2-minute cooldown. The issue is that you're getting less MP, I guess, regeneration in a sense, because you're no longer getting as many 0 MP cost spells under the duration.
Yeah.
So it's it's pretty bad. It also lets you White Mage no longer can handle like emergency/recovery windows as efficiently, because they're now suffering from repercussions of spamming Cure 3, because they can no longer spam it like 5-6 times without losing 0 MP. At most they could do 2. That's pretty bad.
My big thing is, do you think that's this change is indicative of like stuff we just went over with the tanks, where they have a lot more of their preservation tools. They can place them on other people. We see this with some of the DPS as well, such as Reaper and Summoner and whatnot. Do you think some of that's accounted for, that they kind of almost expect higher level players to not forget to use these things as much as they sometimes do?
Maybe. I think it's, I mean, it's possible. I do think it's, dare I say, a dumb change, just because the thing with White Mage is that they are way more reliant on GCD heals than the other 3 healers. They have a very limited off-global healing toolkit that the other healers don't have to deal with, because every other healer has like a huge arsenal of abilities. White Mage doesn't have that, and White Mage's off-global healing abilities like Asylum and Lilybell are on very, very long cooldowns, versus something like Astrologian, where you have Star, Collective, CO, Horoscope, all on 60-second cooldowns. So they don't have to rely on their GCD heals as much as White Mage. So we're nerfing a tool that kind of like circumvents that weakness is, I don't know. It's kind of dumb to me.
Not final, remember?
Yeah. Of course, not final. In its current state, it's dumb to me. Is what I should say. Yeah.
At least White Mage is the beneficiary of the casting change to their glares. They will have that shorter cast time alongside Scholar now on all their DPS abilities. They, of course, Presence of Mind has its cooldown reduced as well. So they become
finally
machine made. Yeah, 150 is such a weird number. I'll talk about that 150 cooldown later. There's another job that has a 150 still, but it's like...
Wait, really?
Well, there is, but it's only 150 at certain levels. So, like, if you sink down, it'll go back to being 150, for example. Which I think is Mana Font on Black Mage is only 120 after, I think, 86 or 84 or something. So that one's weird. I think there's another one on top of that. But Mana Font's definitely the big one, because that's just dumb. That should just be 120. Manification is, what's it called? I'm sorry, it goes down to 2 minutes at some point. Yeah. Either way, it goes. It's only a 2 minute at higher levels. It's like a 3 minute at all other levels. So
probably to preserve difficulty in like ultimates or something.
Yeah, we'll see. That's come on now.
Wow, that's toxic.
Come on
now. Another thing to talk about White Mage too is Lilybell. I know a lot of people are very, very hyped about this. It has a lot of issues in its current state. I don't really know how much I can get into, but for a 3 minute cooldown, the skill is very my biggest issue with Lilybell currently is that it has a very short duration, and so basically when I saw Lilybell, I actually went through like pretty much every fight that was like, harder on the healing side, and like there's literally very little abilities outside of like Enrage AoEs where you can actually utilize Lilybell to its full extent. So having on a 50 second duration, I should say. So I don't know why you want to make it 20 or 30 seconds. It's kind of weird to me. Also, the fact that it has the potential to miss players because the AoE Yalma is only 20 is kind of ridiculous, because like you think of skills like Horoscope, Panheima, Macrocosmos, which are applied individually to the players and heal no matter what radius they're at. Seems kind of counterintuitive for an ability like this, especially on such a long cooldown. And then you get into the issue of the potency being halved after the duration ends, which basically means if you don't utilize this skill to its full extent, it's basically a 1000 potency heal at minimum on a 3 minute cooldown, which is just like another flabbergasted part. I just have a lot of issues with Lilybell. I hope it changes. I hope they give us some quality of life.
Yeah, I think there's some things that could definitely be adjusted in regards to Lilybell itself. I think the lilies themselves, have always, even just not even looking at the bell, lilies have always gone kind of through a tumultuous history.
Sorry, I forgot one thing about Lilybell. Yeah. It's also based off the White Mage taking damage, which is very, very niche. Because like things like I saw somebody, for example, somebody was comparing Macrocosmos to Lilybell, which is a fair comparison. Lilybell, Microcosmos can work for just like auto attacks as well, right? Like if there's no AoE damage coming out,
damage at all, anybody takes.
Exactly. Yes. So it also works for mechanics like Hello World, where everybody's taking damage individually, like DPS are taking long stack, short stack, where the White Mage isn't taking things like that. They're just taking the defamation AoE and the critical error. It's like mechanics like that are like specific job roles, or like mechanics where like the white mage isn't taking damage. Like for example in T, you know, sometimes the white mage won't bait the wave, or like they won't have like water stack because they got hit first. And maybe you want like a Lily Bell during like BJCC. Hypothetical, of course, because you're not going to have Lily Bell at that specific fight.
Yeah.
I gotta mention that because I get so many comments on my Scholar video.
Oh yeah,
like,
nobody understood that. It was just,
yeah,
I saw that. Everyone's like, you can't even use it there, and it's like that's not
yeah,
the
it's just
point.
It's a hypothetical example for mechanics that function similarly. But like, let's say like for example, like there's a mechanic where like you know, never mind. It's just getting too long. Basically, yeah, Lily it needs quality of life changes. I think if it wants to be a 3-minute cooldown, otherwise just make it 2-minute cooldown.
Stal sounded so disappointed when you started talking about how bad Lily Bell
No, it's not bad.
It's dumb that like it's such a long cooldown. It's like 3 minutes.
It's
and the whole white mage thing. Only when the white mage takes damage, it's so like why?
Yeah, like I want to make it clear just because if somebody's watching, I don't want them to get the wrong idea. Lilibell is an amazing ability. It just has some concerns about it that could be fixed very easily via like a balance patch from SC or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can think of a few ways right off the top of my head. And we know that in the first 2 to 4 weeks that generally they do make some pretty sweeping changes. I remember actually going to Shadowbringers. People saw White Mage in Mediator, reported on it, and then White Mage got a ton of adjustments going into the launch even that they then made even more of. So they have a history of having to adjust White Mage because they try to go this pure healer route. And just for some reason on White Mage, it takes an extra try or two. It's got the summoner effect.
That's the big thing to keep in mind is like there's like even if the job doesn't change on release, there's so many changes from release to the 4th week, which is the Savage release.
Yeah.
So many changes to jobs.
Hey, buddy. Aloha. It's not the time. It's not time. Sorry, cat.
Meow.
He'll be up here soon, probably. Hey. Anyway. So White Mage, that Lilybell big thing. Moving on to the other pure healer in that of Astro, I think the healing tools on Astro, everyone kind of agreed were interesting or fun, the additions they got. Macrocosmos is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the best way possible.
It's so cool.
They got... White Mage got Aquaveil, which is just straight up damage mitt. That's like their new like friend help barrier thing. And... but they got Horoscope, which comes with the little like a single target Horoscope with Exaltation, which I think is really cool. For me, that's an aesthetic thing. I don't mind that it's less damage reduction, for example. Because
Exaltation is more it's more versatile because of the heal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're both very strong. I see like a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, Aquaveil is just like a shitty Exaltation." They're both very strong in their own situations. Like they have, you know, their advantages in some situations and disadvantages in some situations.
Yeah, like Aquaveil's better if someone's got like a Vuln stack and you're trying to save their life, for example.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Or like multi-hit tank busters.
Yeah, or multi-hit tank busters. That's another one. So yeah, there's a few discernible things. I like how I immediately went to a fucking fun stack example.
Yeah. I mean, I use that example too in the video, the Asher video, it's for Exaltation, where you know, maybe there's just like a DPS that needs an extra heal, so you just pop it on them, ignore the mitigation effect, but get the 500 points to heal.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cute, but he's a pain in my ass. What do you want? Where's your thing? Here. Is this it? Where is it? Where's your... There it is. I almost track it. There you go. Hey, I know what you want. There you go. The big discussion right now with Astros is cards. Because the decisions on what to do with seals, or like why seals still exist, or the whole mechanic is a bit weird. I
don't know really how much you watched. Did you ever watch my Astro video?
I watched the Scholar one. That's the only one I got through.
Yeah.
So my own assessment is that pre-pull is still toxic. There's more RNG. At least it only affects the Astro now. And fuck Lady and the Lord, as much as I love them, because in the Mediator I pulled 9 ladies in a row. So I'm just mad.
Yeah, basically the conundrum we're in right now is that we're not actually fishing for like 3 seals. Like ideally we get 3 seals, but what's in like the proper scenario, you'll be playing proper cards on the best targets over the seal, which is, you know, I could say a lot of mean words about that, but yeah, that's just like that kind of stuff. It makes me like kind of uneasy about the job because like I don't know why they would remove. First of all, remove the guaranteed guaranteed card from sleeve draw by removing sleeve draw altogether.
Yeah.
That was like probably the best like saving grace about like divination in its current state, like the seal system. But also, I actually thought at first that clarifying draw clarifying redraw would give you a seal that you don't have in your Arcanum already.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But it doesn't. It doesn't work like that. So I was like, okay, well, so now we're just like at kind of complete odds where whether we either get 3 seals or not, or playing suboptimally in terms of like raid DPS and getting the 3 seals for that 5% damage increase. It's just a very weird, back and forth right now between that. And then you also have the fact that Astrodyne is like it's a very fun tool. I'm really excited to use it actually, because you can use it as like a 90, you can use it as like a 2-minute, you can use it like you can pool it, so you can do like 2 back-to-back or like 2 within like a minute, which is kind of cool. Like there's a lot of possibilities with the skill itself.
Yeah. But
I mean, the only issue with it is just the seal system, right? That's so easily fixable too.
Yeah,
like SE can make that.
Yeah, I think the seals. I think it's a short-term issue that just needs to be voiced, and then we'll probably not survive. I mean, because Astro had similar issues with RNG, with Div. Like Div was full of issues right at 5.0 launch. That it still kind of had, but they just gave ways to get around it. I'm more like, do we really need this many more fucking draw buttons on my bar? Can we not just keep adding and taking away versions of draw, undraw, redraw, this draw, sleeve draw, draw you, draw my life? I can't take it anymore. There's too many. Just start consolidating these buttons, please. I can't take it anymore. But Astro, I love Astro kind of getting more Time Mage stuff. I want Time Mage so bad, and I gave up when Astro came out, and then they took it all away, and then it's like returning kind of.
Yeah, it's very time based now too. Like Exaltation, you want the HP to proc after the duration runs out. So like if you do it early, then it's gonna proc and be overheal probably. Macrocosmos is kind of the same way, where you want to time it so where you get as much value as possible from it. And then you also, on top of you have Earthly Star, which is the same, still acts as a 10 plus 10 cooldown, 10 small, 10 big. You have Collective, which you want to use the time between damage, so you can snapshot the mitigation effect. On top of getting the regen, so and you also have Horoscope, which you can use to proc, and then it can like automatically proc or proc it yourself. There's so many really cool like time-based designs around Astral Legend right now. I think it's going to add a very interesting healing, playstyle to it.
A very strong one too, because the fact that they have neutral still is mind-boggling.
We could get into a discussion about that.
I'm sure we could,
probably take 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm not very happy with them keeping neutral.
Because that makes you look at White Mage and you're like, so what are you?
The biggest issue is that Astral Legend has CU already, and White Mage like has Temperance. They're like kind of like almost like CU in terms of like like time per second or whatever is like 10 seconds long for 2 minutes or over 2 minutes. However, C is up more often because it's a 60-second cooldown. It lasts 5 seconds, which is shorter than like Temperance overall, because Temperance is 20, but 2 minutes. But now Astral Legend also has another mitigative effect with neutral, because they can shield in between the downtime of their CU. So it just adds like this weird. It's also flat shielding, which can be an advantage over Temperance, which is it just makes it weird. I don't know why they didn't change the effect.
Everyone's like, but Sinistry is still not that cool, right? I'm like, listen, I like Sinistry.
I like Sinistry. Yeah, Sinistry's great in progression.
Yeah, I like Sinistry just because it's
Party
not
Finder.
As cool as everything else. Yeah, that's fine.
It's great in T. Living
sure
Liquid BJCC.
Oh yeah.
Healing 2 targets.
Oh yeah. Then we have Aloha. The show's gonna take longer because of you. Stop.
Don't yell at him.
I'm not yelling. I'm speaking firmly.
Firmly.
Firmly in his direction. Stop it. I need to. No, stop. Don't bite my arm. Don't do that. He likes to nibble. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
I guess the word changed too, because kind of got overshadowed, but Earthly Star being increased to 320 potency is massive. Because that kind of changes the way we play Star as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be using it for, ideally, I mean, the ideal situation is that you use it for healing and damage. But like it kind of falls under the same situation as a size, where we're going to prioritize the damage aspect over it than the healing if it costs us to like lose a healing or damage GCD or whatever.
Yes. Did you hear that, Aloha? Anyway, moving on to the next healer, Scholar, the job that is not a meme, and you know what's funny? So
I'm still gonna fucking meme on it, though. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's good. I understand, but the art's already out there. I'm sorry. I cannot ignore all the fucking
You played Dragoon. How dare you do this to another job?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's why.
Sorry. Like Dragoon's been memed on for like the life of it being in existence. Like
projection.
This is funny. I mean, we have Dragoon. Stop it. We have Dragoon. We have the red carpet and red mage, and now we have Sonic Scholar. So
I can't wait for the number
if it's gonna wipe.
I can't wait for the all blue Scholar outfits to be really in.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I want the Sonic cosplay.
Yeah,
No.
all 8 raid members get it, and then you all just run. There you go. That's an easy YouTube video for somebody. Denmo, get on it when it comes out. There you go.
Please.
Yeah. So Scholar, even going back before the changes, much like Momo said, Momo's not the only person I saw doing this, but people saying listen, Scholar. Everyone seems to forget every expansion when Scholar doesn't get something or they lose something small that you maybe turn the dial a little bit in the wrong direction for Scholar, and it's just an unstoppable machine.
Mm-hmm.
Every single 5.0 was a bit of a problem for them at the start. They turned the dial, and then it was never look back. Pretty much just complain about the fairy, but never look back.
Kind of same with White Mage too.
Yeah, I'd say.
Remember White Mage, where people were oh, White Mage is dead. At the start of the expansion, after the job trailer, oh, White Mage is dead. Astro Scholar reigns supreme. Come 5.0, White Mage is literally the best healer in terms of balancing and far beyond.
Yeah.
Astral Legend was a mess. Scholar was a mess.
And Scholar was well, my mana kind of sucks. And then,
where's my ED?
Yeah, where's that? Where's Energy Drain? But the changes they've got are both, I'd say, substantial, but also kind of just play to the strengths they already had. Kind of.
Yeah.
A big one you already mentioned, ED. I think that's probably the kind of secret discussion that falls to the wayside because of expedience. And everybody memeing on that, but Etherflow being your entire mana generation and abandoning the ED portion of it, you touch upon that in your video. And that leads to some potential... Jesus Christ, I just looked at my chat. That leads to some potential... sorry, I'm mega distracted. Concerns over mana budgeting. There we go.
Yeah.
And that seems to have kind of fallen to the way. I feel like people forget about mana generation, except for people like you who are very attentive to it, until they start playing and they're oh.
Yep. I think it's going to be okay, at least in progression. I think it's going to be fine. The biggest thing is that we just lose recovery potential, right? Now you can get 3k MP in 10 seconds by having Aetherflow and Dissipation back to back.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to do that anymore. And then also just overall, usually what's something to be aware of too is you're not necessarily getting 2k MP every time you use Aetherflow, right? Let's say, for example, use it in the opener. You're not going to get that full effect because in the opener, generally, you're probably going to be mana capped anyways. So it's going to have some interesting decisions where we might want to do a dissipation opener and delay the first Aetherflow until maybe 15, 20 seconds just to have a better MP economy throughout the fight. But then that warrants losing a usage, which could be bad at the same time. So it's going to add some interesting decisions to it, I think.
Yeah, it seems like the idea they want is for you to feel more like using an Aetherflow to replace something that does cost mana. Mm-hmm. Versus just using ED. but ED still does damage, and Yoshi P, please remember green DPS. So even if it's dog shit potency, it's potency.
Yeah.
And that's always what it's going to come down to when everything is said and done at the end of the day.
Potency reigns supreme.
It sure does, especially with the Broil getting the Malefic treatment and now being able to...
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's honestly, I mean, you said earlier that White Mage was like the biggest benefactor. I don't know. I mean, Scholar, that's so crazy for us.
Oh, did I say really biggest? Good. I meant to say it's a big benefactor.
Maybe you said big. Yeah. Maybe I just misheard.
I might have said it. I don't remember. Well, White Mage I think of because their mobility has all, like, they never had a mobility GCD that isn't their Lilies and Dia. And
yeah, I mean,
I've had to be a Dia spamming White Mage when I don't know where I'm supposed to be in a fight, and I would rather not ever do that again.
Back in good old 07S Tornado phase on White Mage. That was fun.
That's exactly where I did it. And then Arthur's pulled up the clip, and he was upset when he saw it.
Gotta do what you gotta do to clear.
Yeah, we cleared on that pull. I'm okay with it. That's A-okay by my count. But yeah, I mean, Broil being a big thing, and Ruin 2 still being in is not bad either.
I think that was necessary, yeah.
So
it's required. Because basically what would happen is, if they didn't keep Ruin 2, you'd just be a Biolysis spamming Scholar, except you don't have the on-hit potency of Dia.
Balance! No, that's not how that works. But then, I mean, they got even more tool. They've always had nutty defenses. Deployment being 90, Protraction being a single target, Thrill, and also Expedience. I honestly think Expedience is going to force them. They're going to make forced marches no longer affect alternate movement speeds. Yeah. I think that's what they're going to do.
I'm really worried with Expedient. I think it's...
Sure about that?
Yes.
Expedient's one of those skills where I just hope it's not a mistake adding it to the game. I feel like... Because the thing is, right, I kind of touched base upon this, but like they'll never make a mechanic with Expedient in mind, so it's only going to give you an advantage for like every single mechanic in the game that's like movement based.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of the worrying part. Unless they start making it with in mind, and then you just end up in a situation where Scholars is OP.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I know people who they forget they're activating sprint. Like they're pressing it and they're running towards like a spot. I've seen this in E9S. And they fucking run off because like, oh sorry, I didn't account for my movement speed increase and my I just imagine using Expedient and someone just takes that one step too far even though they knew where they were going. I think that's really funny. But I don't know. I saw all of this and I was like, I'll play Scholar. This looks good. The only thing I give a shit about is the fairy, and a lot of people are saying it's better. I tested a couple things, and those are things you can still definitely ghost. I have footage of me ghosting. I have footage of the thing where the fairy follows you, which you can fix with place. So
also pet potency being somewhat fixed.
94%, I think.
Yeah, we don't really know. I think it's like 94, 95 plus anywhere in that range, but it's pretty much like negligible, right? Like it's pretty much the same. But like it's looking really strong. You know, Protraction, like you touched base upon, probably in my opinion the strongest of like the four abilities or four level 86 abilities.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. It's just so many applicable uses.
Yeah, it's very versatile. That's why I like it a lot. It's not like it doesn't just work for damage. It works for like pretty much anything.
Dude, I'm gonna Protraction pre-pull just for fucking the deploy low on pull.
You could just do a massive deploy shield, top that with you know, new improv, and
there you go. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be ridiculous. Dude, Scholar's gonna be fucking ridiculous. I can't wait. And then so Sage, this could be a show in all and of itself. So we kind of have to do the Cliff Note comparison to Scholar more than anything. And
yeah, mind you, there are four.
Oh yeah, I know there are four because there's no way we could fit all of them in here. I considered making it a separate slideshow, but I'll just like go through them myself occasionally. Sage, the big thing that my hands-on experience with Sage was that it was a lot of fun, very mobile. It's very, it's very
very mobile. Yes.
Very active. But at no point did I feel like what I was doing was like god tier. You know, I think everyone sees it. They get like hooked on the aesthetic. They get hooked on all the cool looking stuff, and they don't think about the practicality of it. And again, Momo breaks that down pretty well. Sly.
Yeah, at least you're not a glare mage anymore. I mean, you kind of are a bit.
I play Scholar and Party Finder also sometimes. Shut up. Shut up, Sly.
I don't think Sage has any off GCD damage spell.
No,
at least not that I can remember.
No,
so it's more of a glare mage than white mage.
Yeah, it just has a lot of. It's just that it has the buffed dosis. You have Toxicon whenever you proc it, and you have Phlegma.
Mm-hmm. That's like a big thing too. People like to see like the 330 potency, filler spell. And it's just like, well, you have to keep in mind they have no off GCDs like the other healers do.
Right. Yeah. Look, Phlegma is probably the only one, really.
No, Phlegma's on the GCD also. Yeah, they're all on the GCD. Every single one of their damaging skills.
No, I'm thinking. What am I thinking of?
If it's not Numa. Numa's also on the GCD. That's a cast though. They do not have a single OGCD damaging ability.
I think also between like Scholar and Sage, they're also like almost nearly identical in terms of like healing toolkit. They pretty much have the same same like Aether Flow abilities. Like they're just very different in terms of like how they work potentially. Like their soil, for example, Sage's soil is much better than Scholar soil, except it's 100 potency weaker in potency and healing potency. But it's kind of like the CU effect, except much bigger. So it snapshots like in a 15 yalm radius around you, and it keeps that mitigation effect rolling. Whereas like soil, you have to stand inside the soil to get the HP regen and the mitigation effect. The only difference is that soil is technically like it can be like an 18-second cooldown versus something like Sage, which is only 15 seconds because you don't get that server tick buff off the soil.
Yeah,
it's the same reason why you get like an extra tick of regen as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I mean, if you put them side by side, you can do this with almost any role. You can put abilities side by side within a role and kind of determine its most generic function. And when you do that with Scholar and Sage, they don't appear to have that significant of a power trough, I suppose, between them. It's definitely not like lining up White Mage and Astro, which...
Yeah, I think White Mage and Astro is a much bigger difference than Sage and Scholar.
Yeah, so...
Sage is just fast reapplying shields. Instant cast has very, very, very high mobility. Fast reapplying shields. Sucker and Adlo, they take, especially deployment, they're going to take a longer time to, fully go to the party. Whereas like Sage can just instant cast. Well, technically it's like a 1.1 second. 1 second.
It's 1 second for Eucrasia itself, which in ways is its own movement tool if you really need it. And then it's 1.5 seconds on the thing. So the only thing is it's unaffected by spell speed. That's about the only real downside to it, which in some ways is better for movement. So it guarantees a full duration of that. Yeah, just this really feels like a role that's more flavor over function versus the pure healers, which definitely feel like you can have a flavor, but mine's better when it comes to Astra. It's like I like vanilla and chocolate.
They have their strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. I want to say one's better because you know how the community likes to take that.
I think it's you look at them and like I say, if you line them up side by side, it is recognizable. Worth providing feedback. It's funny to me that Scholar is the meme when I don't think White Mage is a meme, but it is the more recognizable difference. So there you go. Stal's awake. She's waiting for the range physical talk.
I feel so bad. You need to arrange that.
I don't really play. I think one thing about Scholar and Sage is that Sage doesn't have like a change stratagem equivalent to, and like 60 120 seconds are much stronger this time because everything's like 60 and 120 now. About most things. Then you have the occasional 90s, I guess.
Yeah, you bring up a good point actually. I'm actually glad you brought that up because depending. We don't know for certain yet, but it really does look like raid buff jobs are getting like an indirect buff because of the way the other jobs are playing, which could be, that could shift the meta, right? Because like currently in progression right now, I'm sure Stal could, also maybe comment on this, but like you kind of want to play jobs that are one, like obviously you're comfortable with, but two, like something that you don't have to think about too much. But also jobs that don't bring a raid buff can be valued higher because of the way they don't require, like if somebody dies, you're not losing potency under like your divination chain, whatever raid buff. And also they're usually much easier to like optimize around.
Yeah. And also when bot, let's not go there. Every time I think about bot,
we're going there real soon.
Yeah.
So sad. Current bot sucks.
No, I mean that is a really good point, and that's actually important because that was a point I was actually going to bring up when we go into the next role, which was going to be range physical, because I've given Momo so much floor room over the point. No, it's unavoidable because you can leave now, but I mean it's unavoidable because there's the least to say about them, but the things you have to say kind of have to be described in pretty specific detail for tanks and healers. Whereas I feel like with ranged, you kind of recognize some of the big changes on the surface, and you don't really, you can think about those things that are underneath the surface, but generally if you understand how they work now, you understand how they'll work soon, with Bard being kind of the one exception. So let's start with Machinist, because I think it's probably the simplest one to talk about. And it plays off the discussion you were just having. A lot of people look at Machinist, both in Shadowbringers and soon to be an Endwalker, and they don't look at it as a progression job for the range physical role, because people have that mindset with Samurai and Black Mage also. Like, those aren't progression jobs, so they just do damage. They don't do anything else. When you just said it yourself, you have the most agency over your impact on your role in terms of the damage output. Somebody dies, anything goes wrong, as long as you're pressing your buttons on Machinist, you are contributing. So that's the big thing here. And Machinist seems to just be going more down that road. They got an AoE drill / air anchor on a 1 minute that they'll still just use on single target. They got less time. All of them got less time on their buff, on their defensive buff. And their queen does an extra attack at the end. And that's it. That's what they got. And that's so they just...
I'm playing like a lot of Machinists. Yeah.
Their opener will be stronger, I guess, because Chainsaw gives battery gauge, so you're gonna have a queen in the opener.
Oh.
But
yep.
Yeah. Other than that, it's kind of the same.
You also have a second reassemble charge, though.
Yeah, there's 2 reassembles now.
Ooh.
And that's a big thing to talk about, because pre-pull reassemble versus not pre-pull reassemble is a very linear discussion on Machinist versus, I think, other jobs like we talked about earlier with pre-pull discussions. This is, will I lose a reassemble or will I not? That's pretty much the discussion. Also, reassemble has that thing you mentioned earlier with Warrior, where if there's too many crit buffs all stacked.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So it basically looks like the same exact decisions you go into using early versus late reassembles now play in, but you can now get one out of the way early to get the buff ticking, make sure the timer is actually going down, but also still have them for the buffs that you are benefiting from. But that's pretty much all the decision making that's there. Then it's just about what's the most optimal way to line everything up. The theory crafters will, of course, come through with that. Making sure the Queen's Crown Collider lands inside of Trick Attack, for example, is another consideration that has to happen now. But other than, if you liked Machinist, you're just still going to like it. But if you have high ping, you still fucking hate it. So...
I've been playing Machinist in like UCOB, and it pretty much plays the same at like 80. It's a lot of fun. Like, I think this job is like, a lot of people are going to play it's like too simple, but I don't think that's a bad thing to have in the game, especially for like a job role. I think it's it's nice to have like a simple job like Machinist that doesn't require too much like micro optimizations like Bard and Dancer does. Because I think
they didn't want to make range simple anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also like Stal said, getting that if you can get that what's it called, Queen, and like in the opener, that's gonna be pretty cool.
You can. You have to manually. So there's 2 different ways you can do it right now. You can. I don't know which one is being decided on, but you can either chainsaw early, so your Queen is up by the 5th GCD, and then you can have the Queen do an extra auto or 2 before overdriving. Or you can do chainsaw late, and as soon as overdrive is available, basically charge 1 arm punch and then do the pile bunker into Crown Collider. That fits inside Trick pretty easily.
Sounds like it's gonna be fun. Honestly, I'm actually kind of excited for Machinist.
It's not going to be fun for high ping players. It's infinitely worse for them now.
Who cares about them? Who cares about them?
Just hosted me. I have to bring it up. Who cares? Must just be your packet loss.
Sorry, Zeph.
So how do you deal with Machinists? Because I imagine you do not have a great relationship with Hypercharge and Wildfire.
Me?
Yeah.
It's okay. With VPN, I'm about 60, so I don't really click.
Wait, you have lower ping than I do.
Yeah.
If I play on JP, I'm about 60 to 70.
Okay, but what about when you're on Ether?
Oh yeah, that's not 180.
What? Okay.
Really?
Level Machinist.
Okay.
I just left it. I just decided it was not for me.
Yeah, no one. Yeah.
I was about to be upset because I have like 15, but I was going to be upset for other people when you said 60. I was like, what? How is that possible?
Thanks, Singapore.
Yes, thank you, Singapore, for the ping. It's clearly not the Earth and the way that it's shaped. It's Singapore. That's what's doing it. There we go.
It's so bad on NA though. Like I can't. Even when I play Bard or Dancer, I click.
I was gonna say Bard's probably not a great experience.
It was awful in Prague. I'm so glad I'm raiding on JP now.
You're just like, can I skip Mage's Ballad or?
Yeah. Armies fail. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Army Haste probably.
And it gets brought over to Minuet. Oh my fucking god. Terrible.
But you'll be raiding on JP, so now you have the freedom to pick whichever one that you actually decide you want to play. Which will probably be Bard, I'd imagine.
Hopefully not Machinist.
Ooh, hopefully not. My heart.
I don't like Machinist.
I love Machinists. That's okay. I understand not liking Machinists, especially when you have had to play on NA. Even if you have 15 ping, just playing on NA makes you hate things sometimes.
It's the guy. I feel like this is a good segue into Dancer, because Dancer got new utility, which I think is going to be really important in progression.
Oh, the improv.
Yeah, it's very strong now.
That's crazy.
I'm not a big
Yeah.
Just personally, I preferred the old one with the change. If they had changed the old one to still be functional, but this is better because it works with 0 stacks, so you don't have to. You can flick activate it still. It's just it's fun.
Yeah, if you flick it, it's still like a 5% shield, which is. That's a lot.
10% at 4 stacks also, so it's like a super minuscule gain.
On top of the HP regen too.
Well, the regen, I think that snapshots for 1 tick if you do. Yeah, because you have to.
Yeah, it's snapshots. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, right? No other range got utility.
No.
Which is the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't talk about rating it.
That's not utility. That's just damage.
I'm sad.
Okay.
I thought you were like.
Nah, I'm Dancer main 6.0.
Oh, but you don't. So you think you'll be just because of the utility itself? See, I think that's really valuable. I think it gives Dancer a better excuse to be in prog, because I'd argue in Shadowbringers Dancer is the worst prog job that you could pick. Right now, I think it's the worst, just because of how dependent it is on people being as good as possible and how unlikely that is in progression rating.
Actually, let me play devil's advocate, because I actually had this conversation the other day.
Okay.
Oh, no.
What's the difference between Dancer? Obviously, Dancer has standard, which is 1 person, so if that person messes up, you lose a lot of damage, and you also have tech every 2 minutes.
Thank you for.
But the thing is, Bard is almost the same exact way, except more party dependent, if anything, because the Bard songs affect everybody. So if anybody dies, you're just losing straight damage at that point. Same thing going into battle.
The big thing for me is Bard is less seesawy. Bard obviously is you want crits, you want direct hits on Bard, you want resets, you want all that stuff. But when Dancer doesn't crit and direct hit standard and technical,
I know a lot about that.
Boy, do you feel bad when you don't get the crit direct hit, your dance partner dies, anyone's dead at technical application, you ever have to delay technical application, anything goes wrong on Dancer, it's the end of the world. Something goes wrong on Bard. Oh no, this person did not have my 1% crit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
For the 10 seconds they were dead.
when people make arguments against Dancer and Prog, like the first thing I think of is standard and tech being like you have to like you have to position properly to hit like people sometimes like Shiva is like a good example. You know, if you had 2-minute burst in Shiva and Eden's Promise, you know, you had to properly time it. Same thing with Oracle too. Like that can be kind of like hectic in Prog. I feel like that's like the biggest thing to me.
I think that there's no argument against it, but I would personally say if somebody asked me just vacuum situation, I probably wouldn't be at the top of my rank. I'd say go ahead and do it. I did it. I did the whole expansion. But I also would say I think there are enough demerits to say that Machinist or Bard is probably the better option. I think Bard probably the most balanced option of the bunch.
Yeah.
And I think that might continue to be the case.
It's really easy to recover as well if you die.
Mm-hmm.
Super easy.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't like about playing Dancer is Flourish. The melee stuff.
Well,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah, like
I hate it.
Won't have to worry about it anymore because they are completely separating your AoE being melee and your single target being range. The only thing is obviously the range of standard and technical themselves. Probably the biggest changes come in the form of the Esprit gauge and in the steps themselves. So your single target and your AoE share the resource now. So if you use your proc on a single target, then you lose the AoE as well. So you only single target on single target, you only AoE on AoE, but they both lead into the same openers, reopeners, all that stuff. So super streamlined and much less GCD busy work. Now that comes with another change in the bonus skills, having a 30-second proc time now instead of a 20-second. They've fixed one of my chief concerns, not in the way I asked them to, but you can now saber dance your fucking heart out in your openers and reopeners with no concern.
I'm so happy about that. I'm Dancer main. Bard is dead.
Bard is dead. We'll get into Bard. I'm a little excited about Bard. I'm not gonna lie. We'll talk about that in a bit. Aloha. Stop. Okay. Now that we've done that. But yeah, their burst window is pretty much identical, minus doing one more GCD, one more OGCD, and making sure to just cram saber dances. But their Esprit generation is consistent for themselves now in like low party situations and bad RNG. Guaranteed 5 from every base GCD, guaranteed 10 once you hit a high enough level from every buffed GCD. Except for Starfall Dance and Saber Dance. Those don't generate any, but that's kind of expected. So the job is in every way improved, I think, going into Endwalker. I can't really come up with a single detrimental thing that happened to the job. Can you think of one, Stal? Were there any negative repercussions at all to Dancer, to what they did to it?
Honestly, not really. I think what a lot of people were mad about was something about like, oh, now the Esprit gauge is not very RNG anymore. I don't like it.
People complain about that?
Yeah, they don't like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck do you mean?
It's still very RNG during technical
stuff. It's still RNG. Dude, speed kills, I swear, every time we did speed kills, if the Samurai or Dancer didn't have a good run, it was just garbage kill time.
Even Sly's like, what?
Yeah, I was so confused.
Sly's upset at this news.
Reminds me of people complaining about
Nascent.
Nascent.
What's wrong with y'all? I want less RNG in my bullshit. Fuck.
It reminds me of people saying Nascent, like having Nascent being like strict potency now is bad instead of being based off the amount of damage you do.
The only ability that applies to, in my opinion, is Wildfire. I want that to go back to being a portion of my damage. It's more exciting that way. Yeah, we glanced past that on Machinist because Stal doesn't want to talk about Machinist.
Yes.
Wait,
I mean, we kind of talked about it with Blood Weapon also. Because like, I expected them to change Wildfire to like, you hit 6 times, then it explodes. But it lasts 30 seconds as opposed to 10 seconds. Hypercharge, I expected them to go to Heat Blast charges. So, yeah, that's... I expected both of those changes, and neither of them happened to Machinist. But I have 15 pings, so I don't care. Moving on. That's it. Stal. One day, Stal. One day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a confident, yeah.
You know, one thing we can talk about quick is I think I'm really curious, right? Because I wonder if them reducing the Troubadour or Samba to 90 seconds is because they're going to make raid damage more frequent.
I don't get that impression at all because I thought that in Shadowbringers and that did not.
Okay, same. Okay, same. Okay, but the reason is because like if they don't increase like the healing going out, especially with all the changes done to the jobs, I feel like it's gonna be
well. So here's the
very
thing.
interesting.
I think the change to this and consequentially the amount of new actions that either have defensive aspects, whether it be timed or otherwise, I think that is specifically because of them trying to play catch up with the skill level of players in low gear progression. I don't think it's an indication that content overall will deal more damage. I think it's an indication that in those early weeks where you do not have a lot of gear and you're trying to be as cutting edge as possible, it's making sure everything is bringing its own options. It's bringing backups. It's bringing things that you can plan around. It's bringing all that. And because I think they know they need to adjust the player's skill as every expansion goes on, and this is their adjustment to player skill. Make sure everybody has a tool, everyone has contribution, allows you to shine in groups that have mixed skill levels. It still makes it so that low skill groups or fresh groups are going to probably struggle and probably not optimize on it, but that the highest level groups on those early kills can do the most with everything that they have. I don't think it's an indication that just things are going to require more healing. Personally, that's my take. So, that's it.
Guess we'll see how that works out in execution.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I mean, the thing is, right, for healing, specifically to kind of like I guess backtrack a little bit, the fact that every healer is doing a 1.5 second cast time is really bad for current healing design, because basically every healer is now Astrologian, where you can just heal whenever you want now without worrying about your weave windows or anything like that. So it's definitely going to add like a new skill level, I think, but I guess we'll have to see when it comes out.
Yeah, well, it's really a wait and see. But as for Dancer,
healers in this game are just a mess. Yeah, it's just.
But as for Dancer,
I feel like there's no fixing it.
They'll be playing backup between improv and their mobility. I mean, they'll have all the same strength. Again, they're just better now. The potency adjustments.
Actually, going by what you said too, like I feel like if anybody should go on utility, it should have been Machinist, right? Because they have 0 utility still outside Tactician, which is not technically not utility because all the range have the same thing.
Yeah, they
just
have
Bard has men.
Their new potency skills, like having another 550 potency. They're all another drill air anchor equivalent. Having the queen with that extra skill, every single queen. Yeah. I do feel like they might be trying, because a big thing with the potency changes on ranged is a lot of them are brought closer to each other. In terms of like the numbers aren't so drastically different. Like technical's not 1500 anymore, and standard's not this incredibly high number. It feels like they're leaning more into Dancer being the job you want when you really want to build everyone else up, but you still have some of your own agency. They got to make sure of that. They have Starfall, they have standard still, they have technical still, they have more saber dances in their openers. But with Machinist, it seems like they do just want to lean more into, relative to the other range physical, you have more of these harder hitting potencies. You use them more frequently. They're more part of your burst windows. They're trying to make sure they increase the frequency of that. I think Crown Collider is the biggest indicator of that with its like 750 potency, which I think is above standard step now. Standard's either 720 or 780. So, and with Bard also, I think they brought it up, and it's going to feel a lot better to play also. So Machinist utility is I kill the boss. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Because I know a 5% shield on improv isn't going to make or break most groups. But they know you'll gladly use it if you have it. And I will probably have it at some point. Stal will definitely
Actually,
have it.
One thing I'm concerned about is if you can use a pre-pull. The new improv.
Yeah, I don't remember. I have to check.
Imagine just having to do 20-second pre-pull improv.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, because
if you want the 10%.
Yeah, you'd have to do more than 20 because you need.
Yeah.
Imagine like for absolute zero or something.
I think it has to be
like
in
that.
combat. I think it does have to be in combat, but I can't remember. So shut up. Don't do it. Yeah, the lesson is don't do it. And then we move on to Bard. And the more I've thought about Board.
Bard.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was talking about Shadowbringer's Bard. My bad. No. In Endwalker, it's Bard. In Endwalker, it's Bard. The more I've looked at Bard, the more happy I am with Bard's adjustments. So the big thing with Bard is their song rotations are now 45 seconds as opposed to 30, and that allows them to more easily line up with 60s and 120s. Sidewinder now lines up with everything. It's not weird. They don't have a bunch of these weird skills -1, which I actually think is warranted once I talk about it a bit. Everything just makes more sense on Bard now. Even Apex, which was my biggest criticism of Shadowbringers, now has it's not the disaster it was, at the very least.
It grants a new ability, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So the big Stal.
It's like the second Apex or something. But I think what's really cool is that you can hold that blast arrow, I think it's called, for like 30 seconds. That's so good. You can wait, like hold it for a burst or something.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
And you don't have to really fire Apex at 100 anymore, which kind of prevents potential capping of the gauge. I think the difference between 80 and 100 is not that huge. So you can use it anywhere in between. So that's really nice. You no longer have to sit on 95 and then have your 2 dots tick when you overcap by 5 or some stupid shit. I think that's really nice. I think Raging Strikes is also 60 seconds now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice, I guess, but kind of weird using Raging and Valid, Mage's Valid.
Probably feel more active.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll definitely feel more active.
And the 2 charges on Bloodletter.
Oh, that's so good.
No, it's not.
I'm so happy
What?
they did something though.
It is,
but your 2 dots can still tick.
Yeah.
And you can still cap. So, I don't know.
I feel so dumb. We've been getting 2 procs on both other songs this whole time. And I never once thought about it happening to Bloodletter.
What?
I don't know why.
Wait, really?
I never thought of it. Yeah, so because I'm just used to, I got my Bloodletter tick. I got my Bloodletter proc. I'm like, if they give us a second charge, it won't overcap when I get one.
Yeah.
But you get 2. You can still get 2 at once, and then you're instantly
there's still a potential capping, but it's way lesser now. It's nice, but also maybe 3 charges next time.
3 charges.
Level 94 trait.
Well, I think it's actually in a lot of ways pretty improved. I think there's a good way to use. There's a good way to use double Bloodletter procs now. And I say good, but it is a deliberate clipping of your next GCD if it is a burst shot. That is something that is present if you do it now. That's going to probably happen more, but it does mean that you can pretty accurately still just knock off a bunch of Bloodletters if you really need to, and you just have more of them to press most of the time. Now he's going to open the door. I got to let him out. There you go. Goodbye, Aloha. Thank you.
Bye, cat.
Thank you for being here. Now, where's Ivy so I can get love instead of paw? Anyway. So that's the big thing with that. But for me, the big thing is, going back to Apex and Blast, you now have 3 possible situations with Apex. 1, it is available in your burst, and you can press Apex and Blast in your burst. That, I think, is the first situation most people think of. If you get to 100 on Apex outside of your burst windows, you can save Blast, which is equivalent to a 100 gauge Apex for inside and not overcap. So you still have this tool. You then have the dream scenario of then getting another 80 Apex soul gauge and then doing Blast, Apex, Blast inside of a burst window.
Yes!
So
that sounds disgusting.
Yeah. And as long as you're in your burst, if you're at least 80 gauge, you can use it in your burst. You don't need to worry about getting to 100 and then landing it. So there's a lot built in. On top of that, with Barrage Refulgent, I think Bard's gonna feel really good to play. That was my biggest concern right now. It does not feel good popping Apex every time it hits 100 right now. It feels like an underwhelming capstone tool. I think that the adjustments to the amount of potency you get per 20 gauge, which is only a little less now, I think it's 500 max versus 600, but with the potency changes, that probably equals out calculation-wise. But being able to guarantee a full power one through another skill, plus being able to use the original one, plus having all your buffs naturally line up, including Sidewinder, Battle Voice, it all comes together and makes for what should be a good feeling playing this job. I actually think Bard's going to be hype as fuck after thinking about it for the past several days a little bit more.
I wish you guys could see how excited I am. It feels really good to play.
How? Okay, express it. If we can't see it, you have to express it.
Stalala H2.
Okay.
But like 5 times.
Okay, chat. Hold on, I'll do it. Hold on. Wait. I'm doing it here. Hold on. So this needs to stop. 3, 4, 5. There we go. Oh wait, no, that works. Yeah. Now even if there we go.
You have the chant.
Yeah, I want chant so bad. I'm actually so upset.
Even for people who don't have it, they understand. Even for people who don't have it, the thought is there. That's all that matters. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, the only thing that people are kind of question mark about with Bard is Radiant Finale, which is a 90-second cooldown. But
yeah,
I actually think they nailed this skill.
I think it's kind of interesting.
Like
muted. Definitely it's gonna be a opener 2%, like 1 quota is 100%. But I think after that there's this because 2 quota and 3 quota is just 1% difference.
Yeah.
So if you want to maximize usage, you can do 4% until 6 minutes, and then you do a 5% and you go back to 4%, whatever. Or because 120-second stuff is really strong now, so you can either do like 2, 5, 5, 5, 5 all the way. So it's quite flexible, I would say, and you can move it around depending on kill time, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say the same thing. Yeah, being able to synchronize it with 2 minutes potentially it adds an interesting interaction to their skill, and I think like a lot of people probably sleeping on the fun of optimizing that.
Sly, how are you feeling? Because you've had a face the whole time.
On paper, it looks decent. Like there's something in the back of my head when I saw Radiant Finale the first time. I mean, this seems good. Like, and you said one coda on opener, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll do 2. So the biggest thing that it does right is that 2 coda, which is how much you would get on its actual like a 90-second cooldown, you will always get 2 coda. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest margin of buff. They made sure that if you are going for the 3rd coda, that it is not another 2%, which would most likely warrant people always holding it for the 2 minutes, which then why is it 90 in the first place? Other than maybe getting an extra one in a fight. Because of the way they've done it, if there's boss downtime during Payon, you can guarantee a 3 on a reopener on the boss. You can set it up so that your strongest last burst on a fight is a 5%. You can set it up that certain fights you always do it at 6 minutes if it's a 100% uptime. Makes perfect sense. It basically, a really good Bard will do a lot of good things with Radiant Finale, and an inexperienced Bard isn't crippling their party by not doing it.
Yeah, you can just use like every 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I think one thing about Radiant Finale though is that, well, if the downtime is really big, you can't really get a quota because you can't target the boss to play your song. That's one thing too. So it's really fight dependent.
Yeah, like E1, I think you'd have to coda like during the ad phase, for example, to then make sure that after everything comes back, you just kind of go into another 2%. So there are situations like that. But that's the thing. I think Radiant Finale is kind of an example of why maybe everything going to 60s and 120s is not... why they don't necessarily want that for every single ability. Because as nice as it is, as much as we like to say, oh, how it lines up with this, and I'll always have this buff under that, Finale does sort of show the merits of not everything being the same. I think, in terms of interactive gameplay with your job and understanding your job. And
they definitely accounted for it. That's why it's just a 1% difference.
And I think that accounting for it is if they do ever shy away from 60s and 120s again and start to try to create more 90s or more like awkward cooldowns, I think that's the formula, and is making it so on its cooldown, the cooldown it has is the biggest gain between the 1 and the 2, and then making it so if you are having it, you are using it at that later time, the flat benefit on the skill is lower. So the application does actually have to be considered. So I hope they take that formula and reapply it, because like our other 90s for the other 2 jobs don't take that into account at all. They just make sense for different reasons. Black Mage and Monk specifically. Mm-hmm. Monk doesn't make any fucking sense. So that's I will auto attack twice as fast on 90s.
Oh, I didn't understand like what the point of that was, but
auto attacks are strong, but it's still just like
it's like like yeah, it's like good, but also why?
Yeah, it's weird, but I mean, it's the same as Radiant, where you're gonna want to like pair it up with 2 minutes as much as possible without losing usage of it.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun in that regard, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, usually fun in this game comes from, like, clunkiness. So it's like...
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they nail that most of the time, I can tell you. They definitely nail clunkiness when they do or don't want to. Oh, man. But I think the whole ranged role is... How do I say this? The most balanced role, I think. Caster's pretty close from the changes they got to, I think. They're very balanced, and they're the roles with the least number of jobs in them, and I think that might be why.
Would you say casters are balanced?
Not entirely. I think there's one thing that stands out on casters that is definitely an imbalance.
Maybe you're thinking the same thing I am. We'll see.
I think when we have that moment, we'll find that it's magic.
Yeah.
That was a
terrible.
That was a pun.
No, that was
shut up.
But it was not a pun.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the pun you think.
I have to do a show with this. This is what I deal with every fucking show.
But do you get the puns?
I like it.
Yes, I do.
I don't think you do. Do you? What's the pun? Tell me the pun then. Explain it to me.
You said it.
Magic.
Excuse me.
I didn't say that. Bless you.
Thank you.
I said magic. I said it'll be magic. What's the pun?
Yeah. It's magic.
That's not... Anyway, we're going on to the caster roll next anyway, so I guess I don't have to take long to explain it, because we'll start with Red Mage. And that's where the pun came from, because of Magic Barrier.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that.
That's worse.
Oh, you didn't get it either?
Wait, you didn't get it? Oh, I got you, bro. I know what you meant.
Did I need to put more emphasis on it so it was like the K? It was like the magic.
Okay, that's me when I said sick.
No.
Yeah, that's true. We did literally make the exact... Yeah. You know what? It's weird how that works out. I didn't... Yeah, we had the exact same bad pun idea with the exact same CK and... All right, yeah, all right. Brain cell.
There you go.
I love brain cell. Now, Red Mage, outside of Magic Barrier, everything's looking really cool. They can literally activate their burst window on demand without any consideration to their mana. They can also pool mana for burst. Why am I saying mana like this? I just started saying it. I've never said mana like this until I recorded this video. And I can't say mana. I can't say mana anymore. Yeah. I don't know why. Mana. It's like Trails of Mana. It's just, I can't stop saying it.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, Trails of Mana?
Yeah.
Is it no mana? Is it... Wait.
Mana and mana are potato, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Manana.
I heard Red Mage Burst is like really strong now.
Mana. There we go. Yeah, that's the big thing. So Red Mage is pretty much identical in terms of its the gameplay flow, but their burst is more accessible, more frequent, and more cursed. Red Mage is pretty fucking cursed right now of the jobs that we've had to talk about.
And Embolden is now all damage.
All damage. Big thing.
I don't think it got nerfed either.
It's 10%. It's 10%. And then degrades 2% every 4 seconds.
Was it before?
I think it was 10%. It might. Yeah, I think it was 10%.
Oh.
But it was physical.
20 for some reason.
It was physical. Well, it's 20% to
Oh,
you.
20 yourself. Yeah.
You get 20 and then it degrades, and then everybody else gets less. But now the one that everyone else gets is 10% to everything instead of just physical.
That's gonna be really strong. I'm curious how they're gonna balance that on top of having literally the best progression toolkit in the game.
Yeah. So
I don't know what they're thinking. Like they look nutty.
Yeah. Red Mage is something because so here's the thing. In terms of the most obvious things on the surface, Magic Barrier, as long of a cooldown as it has, as short of a duration as it has, is still on the job that was already the most popular job for progression rating because of its run savability. It's MP efficiency for the healers because they don't have to res. It's a hit to the Red Mage. Obviously, they don't want to have to do it, but they're just so valuable already. Now you've given them damage reduction and healing increase once every 2 minutes. And it's pretty
Vercure is really strong.
Yeah, and Vercure, honestly. I've seen runs just completely saved by Vercure.
Yeah, I've saved so many runs in UCOB just off Vercure alone. It's actually, like, it does 10% of the tank's HP. It's crazy.
I've never seen a job so pigeonholed into being in so many prog parties than Red Mage. These changes just make it even worse now. Like, they're locked. It's pretty much locked that somebody's going to be a Red Mage in whatever prog you do.
Double caster is almost guaranteed, like, locked for hardcore groups.
Yep.
I don't see a way. I don't see a group that is like consider. Let me be clear. You don't need to. Absolutely don't need to, but do it.
We can see.
There's the caveat. Do it.
After we're done, I can like give like hypothesize. Like there's a few jobs we haven't talked about yet that have some insane utility.
Yeah.
The thing with Magic Barrier is I like to think of it as like Paladin's Passage of Arms, right? I think it's like kind of like a good comparison because when you think of Paladin, it has the same exact toolkit. Like he has Divine Veil, which is like, it's Shake, it's Heart of Light, it's like the same ability, right? But the thing that makes Paladin really good is that it has a second ability it can weave between the downtime of Divine Veil that the other tanks can't. And that's kind of the spot Red Mage is in too. In between your addles, you can have a Magic Barrier where the other casters can't.
Yep.
Which is the reason why it's disgusting.
And don't forget, Addle has the physical reduction on it now, too. All the casters have this, obviously, the 5%. It wasn't on the tooltips, I don't think, but they told us about it in the live letter that we had prior to the media tour. So they're ridiculous. The only thing the only saving grace would be potentially if their damage is low, and that doesn't seem to look like it's going to be the case because their burst is also stupid strong. The only thing that's cursed about them right now is the sheer fucking volume of OGCDs they have. They are the summoner opener of casters this time.
Which is good for damage, because that means more damage with the raid buffs.
Yeah.
Speaking of Summoner, I think Summoner actually lost a lot of their off GCDs.
They have almost none.
Yeah, that's actually, again, that's like kind of like a negative on Summoner's part.
Yeah. But it's just... listen, I'm gonna give you one OGCD possibility that I've seen floating around. That would be optimal if you could not clip. And I want you to tell me what this OGCD window tells you about the busyness. Flesh it, pot.
I think I just barfed in my mouth.
I don't want to tell you the rest of what the OGCDs look like, but clipping is going to be a fucking thing for...
Next, you're going to tell me to get a triple move with, like, Contra 6 and Reprise.
Aww.
Wait, no. No. Wait, actually?
You might want to take back things like saying...
Wait, no way. No way.
Stop right there.
Wait, are you serious? You're not.
I'm gonna need you to not say the word triple weave around Red Mage Theory Crafters right now.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh. That's.
Oh, not to mention the possibility of not 6 cast. I will say that there is the possibility of no longer doing a 6-second cast opener you do a jolt instead, because jolt had some minor buffs to it in regards to it's comparatively, so jolt into your first GCD might be a real thing also. So that's a little less cursed, I think. Right?
Sorry, I'm still like wrapping my head around the triple weaving and
There's
I mean, actually,
in there too, yeah.
it's kind of like Heavens Word Machinist, because you triple weaved on Heavens Word Machinist too in the opener.
Yeah.
Do like a triple buff lead shot or something like that.
Yeah. Bard's looking at red mages like first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the didn't you back in Stormblood, right? Or maybe even today you do you used to clip for your Bloodletter if you got it during your like mid roll.
Yeah. You can still do that. Yeah, because it was the same potency. I think since Burst Shot got its potency, since it's higher than Heavy, I think it's less common now, but still reasonable. Like the amount of potency loss for the clip isn't too bad.
It's funny.
Yeah, so Red Mage is the potentially most cursed of them. And if it is that cursed, people will ask for them to change a few things. It's just because and it's honestly because they have 2 stacks of their movement tools.
Yeah, that seems really weird. I don't know why they needed that, because like there's really not. I've never been in a situation as a red mage where I was like, wait, man, I wish I had 2 displacements, or I wish I had two Contra 6. It's not like Spine Shadow die like on Dragoon or something.
2
that
Contra 6, that would be nuts.
Or sorry, cores.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So good luck, Red Mage. I hope you like Reprise and Swiftcast along with Dualcast. Hey, the good news is, and then not to mention the 2-minute saving your pot for 2 minutes and doing 3 melee combos back to back. That's another.
That's actually optimization nowadays too, where it's like sometimes you might opt for like a 1-minute potion. It's very rare, but like that's actually.
I think 2-minute pots is going to be standard in Endwalker instead of potting your opener. Depends on the job, but like almost every job is better at 2 minutes. Yeah, kill time, if it's less than 8 minutes and you can do it at 2 and 8, is probably going to be pretty popular. Otherwise, you'll probably just do 0, 6, 12.
That's cool though, because I was kind of worried, because like optimizing like 3s and 90s is like a pretty big factor, especially like in progression. When like especially in Shiva, actually, like, a lot of groups, they kind of muffled their 3s and 90s a bit, not syncing them up with like the 2s and the 60s bursts. So like that, losing that kind of like micro optimization kind of sucked. But then you see like now every job is like insane and bursting, so it's just like, and then they also have like wind up periods like Dragoon's like life window and stuff like that. So
yeah,
like Dragoon's 2-minute window is feels bad if you're on the feels bad if you're on the East Coast, to tell you that, or anywhere from
that's there. That's I hope you enjoy. Hi Sly, he's East Coast.
My Dragoon's like, I'm just gonna double weave jump and they're obviously no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Stardiver Nastron, same OGCD smile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stardiver plus one other thing. Stardiver alone is scary.
Yeah.
Stardiver alone, fuck.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Oh, goddamn.
So enjoy your curse shit, Red Mage. Next, let's go to 2 much less cursed jobs in the form of Black Mage and Summoner. Black Mage first. Some really great new things here. Paradox it's a little bit of a question mark. I think people have mathed it out a little bit more and have found where its applications are. It's not as strong as a Fire 4, buffed Fire 4, but it is a lower GCD. Thus, meaning it holds value still. So basically, inside of Burst, as long as you're fitting all the Fire 4s, it should generally be okay. All the instant cast Fire 4s. But other than that, it seems like Paradox actually fits in fairly well. But they didn't destroy it. You have on-demand Polyglot every 2 minutes for Burst now, and on-demand movement. Leyline's still 90 seconds. Leyline's as good as it ever was. You have a more standard AoE rotation that's not just cold flaring and Thunder application. Fouls instant cast for AoE after level 80 now. Aspect Mastery's fucking level 1, so syncing down is going to be fucking god tier.
That's like the worst thing about Black Mage to me, is the leveling process. Yeah. It's so miserable.
It always has been.
Yeah, and they're doing their best to try to mitigate that. Fire 3 and Blizzard 3 being at the same level is another big one, so you don't have to have that weird point where you can transpose one and then not transpose the other. They also streamlined the AoE. Blizzard 2 is no longer point blank, for example. It is like Fire 2, and they are meant to complement each other, especially at the higher levels. They involve Freeze as AoE Blizzard 4, Flare is AoE Fire 4, essentially in the same capacity. And so it's everything has kind of been, tightened up. That seems to be the main focus here. And then just 80 to 90 is Paradox, the bonus polyglot stack, and one other thing I forgot. Oh, Sharpcast. And Sharpcast doesn't have a duration anymore, last I checked. So
Foul being instacast is nice too.
Yeah. It's literally so many good things. Black mages should be rejoicing. They don't have magic barrier, and they lost sleep. Sleep is now a roll action and a single.
Yeah,
but
I kind of hope Black Mage does the thing is though, my issue with Red Mage is that SC is put in a position where damage means all, right?
Yeah,
they're kind of put in a position where damage means all because they tried balancing Red Mage based on their toolkit. And it didn't work out because people just constantly complained that they were just doing so much less damage than like Red Mage or a Summoner and Black Mage, right? And the thing is, that's understandable because like progression in this game is such a small portion of like the raid tier, right? For most groups, progression is like 1, 2, 3 weeks at most, like depending on like your skill level. After that, it's just farm, party finder stuff. So like it's kind of understandable. Like I don't really know how they're going to balance Red Mage in compared to something like Black Mage, right? It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they decide to do.
It kind of reminds me of going all the way back to Realm Reborn in 2.4 when Final Coil came out. Monk was considered pretty much mandatory for every group because that's when Dragon Kick had int reduction and Dragoon was a liability, to say the least. With they still hadn't fixed all their magic defense and everything. But as soon as you could survive without Dragon Kick, most groups for speed went to Dragoon even before the 0.45 changes. So it kind of reminds me that Red Mage was a lot like that when it first came out. Everyone was bringing them week 1, and then they were like, yeah, but Red Mage is weak. So let's do something else now because we shouldn't be dying as much, so we don't need the res. And they kind of don't want to end up in that same spot again where you are there because of res and Magic Bearer and not because you contribute enough otherwise past the first week.
Weren't they MP negative when they first released?
I think so. And well, with the amount of rezzing people do also, they're generally MP negative nowadays. Everyone expects them to res even more nowadays, so in some ways they're always MP negative.
That's true.
But they were very much, like they were, if you did your rotation perfectly, MP negative. And then people expected you to res. So, that wasn't fun. Not a single Red Mage do I know had fun doing that, ever. They're like, downtime, please.
I didn't realize how scuffed your magic is actually, or mana is on Red Mage once you, like, if you die or you do too many raises. Like, it's almost nearly impossible to increase that outside of Lucid.
It's even worse if you're a Red Mage and you see that you and one healer died, you know what they're about to say to you when you get up.
What, they're in their melee combo?
No, like the red.
No, I know. I was joking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Every time I ask a Red Mage to raise, they're like, "I'm in my melee combo. I can't do it right now."
Combo, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that might happen more now. So
that's actually a concern for progression, though.
Yeah,
that's actually a downside to Red Mage because not only do you get 2 cores, which puts you in melee range as well, but you're also dealing with potentially more melee combos, which means you're going to be in melee range more often, which is why like people take Ninja in the first place, just because it gives them more leniency around strat making.
And the melee combos are GCD longer now.
Is it?
Yeah, because they have resolution. Mm-hmm. If you interrupt any GCD after, you cannot do anything. Yeah. You have to for Holy
You are locked in.
Resolution. Yeah.
You are locked in.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to be in melee range for those, right?
No, but if you cast anything else, you lose them.
Yeah.
So, I'm in melee combo is now 3 melees, 3 spells, pretty much. So
this means you can't get the raise. Yeah, you can't get the raise. That's quick.
Without.
Well, you might sack it just for prog, but
prog you'll do it. But it's 6 GCDs of please don't make me do this. I hate my
life.
Yeah. So that is another important thing.
Maybe that's the way of nerfing the raise.
What, just making
Just make it so they can never do it.
Combo.
Imagine like in a 2-minute window where you're trying to do like 2 back-to-back. You just 12 GCDs of no raise. That's what like almost.
Oh lord.
It's gonna be like almost 30 seconds of no raising.
But you have Magic Barrier and Addle, so that's fine. And Sleep now. Rare Mage has Sleep now. For Deep Dungeon. Listen, for Deep Dungeon, that's a buff. They can dual cast Sleep. Don't.
Oh.
Stop.
True. I never thought of that. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, they can dual cast Sleep now for Deep Dungeons. And with Sly's interview, they did confirm another Deep Dungeon, that there will be one in Endwalker. So,
yay! Deep Dungeon's kind of like Ultimate. It's maybe it's like not like for the whole player base, but like the thing with Ultimate Fights, right? Like even today, they're still relevant. 4 years after launch. That's so good. And it's the same thing with Deep Dungeon, right? Deep Dungeon is just it stays relevant because that's just the kind of content it is. It's like I think Deep Dungeon's that's great content.
Yeah,
I think we need another one. We should have had one this expansion, but
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. So yeah, Black Mage looking solid, looking like just a few adjustments to. You will need another GCD to guarantee 1 Xenoglossy in the opener. You already guarantee it now, but you'll probably go for 2 realistically in the opener now if you're doing the full one. Bit more movement, but just a bit more everything. Just Black Mage, they didn't screw it up, and I really thought they were going to screw it up, so I was shocked that they didn't. And then we have Summoner, which is just the bonus job. It's the machinist of Endwalker. It's you wanted a new caster? Here's your new caster. Summoners, I'm seeing a lot of mixed thoughts about Summoner. There are some people who kind of prefer the way it is now. Even with they would prefer some fixes to the way it works now versus a complete identity change. But I've been asking for this identity for years. It's hyper mobile. I don't even know why they gave any skill cast times on this job. It's a complete waste of fucking consideration with how many fucking things that you have. So, it's just...
As a ranged main, I'm mad.
You can play this Stal, quite frankly. You should say I'll play range physical or summoner.
Nobody in my group wants to play range.
Well,
I don't blame them. Every single tier, my group goes through a different range because they all quit the game. I'm not even trolling. I'm not even kidding.
I can tell because you're not laughing.
No, I'm serious. Yeah.
So Stal, if somebody in your group played range, would you play summoner?
I would try, but the thing is, in my group, the 5 of us are ranged mains, and they all left ranged. It's just me left, because all of them didn't want to play range anymore.
Slide muted.
Sorry?
That just sounds like my personal fucking hell.
It's almost the same as like healers at the start of Shadowbringers.
Everybody's just fucking ranged, and
yeah.
I think with Summoner, Summoner's also like kind of broken utility wise. Like that new Rekindle they get.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really strong heal. It gets you restore 200 off the bat, and then it's like it has an XCOG effect where after the player drops or below 50 or the effect expires, it gives them a 1000 potency heal, which is really strong. And then you also have free Titan Shield now, right? I think it's free.
It's free. Yeah. You have to. Carbuncle has to be out, so that's the only thing. And I think it is a longer cool because it used to be Eggy Assault 1's cooldown. Now it's 60 seconds with 2 charges.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only 2 charges at level 88. Another thing. It's 1 charge.
But at least it's free now.
Yeah, but it is free. Yeah.
You don't need Titan out on the field.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be really good for like some. It's like kind of like a shade shift almost. Actually, it's just more frequent.
Yeah, you just don't need Titan. And no more Titan in Uwu because damage doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which
I can't wait to get the shade shift. I'm gonna rip that apart. Ooh, I'm ready.
You're right.
I'm excited.
No, I got that.
I can tell.
I got that.
I got some words.
Words.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. I think that the optimizations on Summoner are kind of a little boring, but other than that, it should be a pretty solid job. The big thing we talked a little bit about OGCD availability versus how many GCDs you actually have. It does seem like the team did try to balance that. Every job that has very few OGCDs essentially has insanely high GCD potencies. So with Summoner, we see that nonstop. It's literally the only thing that's weird is Summon Bahamut and Summon Phoenix don't have a potency, but they are on the GCD. So that makes their other potencies even crazier. Like every summon, every Arcanum is 700, and then the Ifrit casts are 430, and then the Titan casts are 330 with a 150 OGCD, and then Slipstream is 430, and then it has a dot that comes afterwards, and then you have Deathflare being 500, which is OGCD, and then you have Akmorn being 600 as an OGCD, and then you have Fester, which is 300. They actually still do have a decent amount of OGCDs, but their GCD power is considerable, I'd say.
Yeah.
But they don't have Magic Barrier.
I'm curious to see what their buff contribution is going to be like.
You mean with Searing Light?
No, what damage they do under buffs.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a thing. Yeah, and Searing Light, it seems like they considered that you won't see Carbuncle very much, so they made it 30 seconds. They made it weaker, but they made it only 3%, but it's 30 seconds, so you can get it out really early in fights for everyone's burst window. Well, no longer 2-target gods. I don't know. They have a lot of... Pretty much every skill is AoE on Summoner.
Oh, wait. Did we talk about that on Red Mage?
What, they're 2-target? How everything's AoE? Yeah,
they can Moulinet into the Verholy stuff now. So
yeah.
That's crazy for their 2-target.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. It's a little more MP cost. It's 60 instead of 50. But their AoE, their normal AoE filler, didn't have their mana cost reduced, their generation. So it balances that. All the single target skills lost a ton of mana generation to fit the 80 to 50 change that they did. But for Moulinet, it should be a little bit more frequent, or at least equally as frequent as it was before. But now it goes into their combo. I mean, that's just a change they made to everything. Everything single target and AoE pretty much collides in their burst window. Because everything is AoE with fall off of some kind, pretty much. Yeah. And Red Mage, that's going to help a lot because their AoE feels like fucking garbage right now if you ever have to do it.
Yeah, it does. I've been saying Verholy should have been 2 targets in Stormblood. I don't know why it was never.
They even got new animations now that they're AoE for Flare and Verholy.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's slightly improved. It's a little.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Rune 4's AoE also on Summoner. So.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's 430 with AoE fall.
Where is that?
Rune 4 might not be on this one.
It might be this page. Okay.
Let's see. I have because Summoner is another one of those jobs.
Yeah.
Needs
it's actions a brand spanking new job.
Yeah, that's all this. No, that's all the summon stuff. I think. Let's see. Well, yeah, it is brand spanking new. Where's Rune 4? Rune 4. You know what though? I gotta admit, I didn't actually look on the first page, so it could have been there. It's probably on page 4.
Did I put Rune 4 on?
You probably did, and I just didn't see it. But yeah, it's AoE. It's AoE. That's all you need to know. Is it here? Did I just not see it? There's so many fucking skills.
Actually, this brings up a good point. I kind of forgot about it until now, but it's kind of weird, isn't it? How you have Summoner, Red Mage with all this defensive utility, Summoner having basically almost 2 mana wards in the duration that Black Mage can get 1, and Black Mage can only get mana ward every 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a weird decision on Square Enix's part. I wonder if they even think about stuff like that.
They probably do, but it's something that they talk about how much they consider skills. Ley lines, he went into great detail about everything they considered for ley lines, even back in Shadowbringers. And so, but this, I have a feeling they probably don't look at those skills. It's similar to what the discussion we had earlier. They don't look at those skills and say they need these skills. They look at them and go, okay, so Black Mage every 2 minutes is unkillable. They're going to want to not move. So their defensive being less frequent but stronger might help them stay still in a scenario. E9S is a great example of ley lining on the wall after a wide angle and just saying, fuck that, I'm not going to be part of the next heal. But I have a barrier, so it's okay. So they might balance it around decisions like that. But but I just Red Mage. That's it. Red Mage strong. That's it. Summoner, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be strong. I think it's going to be fun. And but the big thing is, like we said, with Red Mage being the way it is now, double caster is going to be pretty dominant amongst.
I could see it being prog heavy. Yeah, that's like summoner utility is not only good for themselves, like they have really, one of the reasons like they were like Tiny Shield was used so much in T, right?
Yeah.
In T progression, especially with all the downtime mechanics. Like if there's ever downtime mechanics, that was Tiny Shield was like the go-to. But you combine that with now Rekindle, which is a 1200 potency heal every 2 minutes, I believe, because you alternate Phoenix every other minute.
Yeah.
Or is it still 60 seconds? Or is it 60 seconds now? I don't know.
It's 60 seconds. But swap between Bahamut and Phoenix every 60
Yeah.
seconds.
So it's 2 minutes then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The big thing is, though, Summoner does suffer a little bit from downtime now, because there is a chance that you need to just say fuck your Arcanums to go right into a Phoenix or Bahamut, for example. So like if you Bahamut and then you have your Arcanums, but when you come out of your Arcanums, then you're at Phoenix for whatever reason. You just say fuck the Arcanums, because otherwise you're off kilter for pretty much the entire time. So there are little considerations like that, but I think every job has to deal with those to some capacity. I just think summoners are different. It's probably the best way to put it. Moving on from yes.
Do you think you'll swap one of the casters out for Black Mage?
I think it depends on how much damage they deal.
Yeah, it depends on the damage, I think. As with like anything.
Yeah, I think it's the same argument you can make with Machinists, but you just can't make it as well with casters because Red Mage exists. Where you can play any
how they
range.
would balance it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's it. I just think that double caster having both Red Mage and Summoner, both having reses. And by the way, I don't know if the MP values were just all. I couldn't run out of MP as Summoner if I fucking tried in the Mediator build. It was impossible. I never pressed Lucid, and I don't think I ever fell below 9,500 MP. I literally might as well have not had it as a resource at the Mediator. So there is also that. So maybe their MP, that might make them, if Red Mage doesn't have the same budgeting, that might actually make even Summoner, if you don't need a shit ton of back-to-back, is your actual go-to first res in pretty much any scenario. But it's not even MP, like, neutral. It's like, you just are at, like, 10,000, like, forever. It's like, you I think you gain MP. I think you're just, if you're at 10,000, you cast a spell, and you don't go below 10,000. Now I think it's like MP positive now, practically.
Maybe it's just gonna be like Black Mage. You're not supposed to use Lucid unless you die or something.
Yeah, honestly, if you
Probably.
right now with Summoner with the MP cost there, if you would only use Lucid if you die or have to res, and even then you'd get back to 10,000. So Red Mage is gonna have very high MP efficiency on their reses if everything stays the same. Yeah, they have overflow practically. So, this shit's nutty. I can't wait to see that. And then we go into the final roll, which we're running a bit late. So, Momo, I will try to rein you in a little bit. But we're going to start you on Dragoon, because this is Sly's job.
Oh.
Why you gotta say it like
Dragoon is like the least interesting new job, just because like they're just the perfect job as it is now, and they're still the perfect job.
We don't ask for shit. We never ask for shit.
Yeah, they literally
get shit.
Yeah, they're probably like the most boring in terms of what they got. And they get basically like a 30. I think it's like
button press every. We got a button press every 10 GCDs.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the optimization is going to be cool. Like, you're going to want to obviously like try to pull your spine shadows for every 2 minute window. Their 2 minute windows are going to be really hectic. It's going to be a lot of fun to play, I think. 60 seconds.
Blood for blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, the big thing with the Lance Charge change is that in a dummy scenario, you never have to delay life. Obviously, that's not practical in any fight, but you should hit your life at 45 seconds into the fight, looking at the current standard opener. That's where you would if you did it exactly 30 seconds apart for your Mirage dives, so Jer Skogul is off cooldown. So in that scenario, there is no more life adjustment, but anytime there's downtime, there's definitely going to be life adjustment still. But it shouldn't be nearly as annoying.
Again, outside of that, AoE is better and finally gets an automatic disembowel power charge.
Yeah.
That's a change across the board. Like Warriors, same thing. They just get their eye buff now whenever they AoE.
Raiden Thrust doesn't have the positional requirement.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Power Surge as a trait, I was like, as a Heavens Were Dragoon, I was like, oh, my baby. I think it's like it's kind of cool. It's like a nostalgic throwback almost.
I will say Dragoon is the only, I think the only melee that does not have any form of defensive, but they have. I think they have
Life Surge.
That doesn't count. Stop.
No, it actually does.
I made this argument to somebody. I told them, I was like, yeah, they have Life Surge because they get that guaranteed heal every time they Life Surge, and they're like,
and they get 2 now.
Yeah.
No, it's actually really good. No,
it is really good.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that, but I wouldn't call it a defensive. Here's the thing.
I would call it a defensive.
I would never be like, oh, I'm going to Life Surge here because I'm taking damage. I'm going to Life Surge, and it's going to hopefully line up with a point where I'm max HP.
Well, yeah. It's like the same thing as like Riddle of Earth, right? Like you kind of, I mean, like as a healer, like you just plan around their windows, right? It's like if you know they're going to Life Surge there, you know they're going to take damage. It's like, okay, well, maybe we could shift some stuff around here and there or whatever. It's like the same thing. Riddle of Earth. Is that what it's called? I think
that's
6 second. Yeah. Where Monk takes like reduced damage for 10 seconds. You can kind of plan around that too a little bit because like usually they use it pretty consistently because they kind of like map it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, Bloodbath is my defensive.
Bloodbath is so good on Dragoon and Monk. And Samurai.
Yes, sir.
And everything, but best on them.
Well, except Ninja, because half their fucking toolkit
Ninja.
Is magic now.
They have Shade Shift, so it's okay.
I can't wait to get into that. I will rip it apart.
Well, lucky for you, next we're going to talk about Monk.
I actually have no idea about Monks, and you're the Monk man here, so.
I say this for you, Happy, because like I had to ask Drac about it a little bit, and he told me about it, and like, okay, all right, Happy, what's your take?
So, there's 2 outcomes to the Monk changes. Outcome number 1 is Cursed Opener, which is pre-pull PB at like 24 seconds, which means you need a 30-second countdown for Monks, which allows you to line up Phantom Rush with every burst window, and you can still... The big thing is now with Perfect Balance is it's so easy to fix any sort of mistake you make, any misaligned openers or reopeners, because right now you really want to do Twin Snakes, Demolish, Boot Shine into PB. If you do not get that, your PB is terrible. Now, the power is really more shifted into the Blitz itself, so as long as you're meeting your conditions for your Blitz, then you have the freedom to maybe, for example, say, oh, I need to go into my Burst right now, but I'm missing Twin Snakes. Okay, I can Twin Snakes here then. I can just force it because I'm formless for fucking 12 GCDs, like in the opener, 8 GCDs during my 2-minute reopeners and stuff. So all of that is great, but the Cursed Opener being the only way to get Phantom Rush inside of 2 minutes, your hardest hitting GCD, the only way to get it in 2 minutes without a boss downtime forcing it is to do a 30-second countdown with a pre-pull PB. And even then, that opener is insane. It's like Twin Snakes, Demolish, Dragon Kick, Blitz. Then you're immediately formless, but you PB again. And not to mention, you also need to Riddle of Fire. You need to Brotherhood. You need to be Perfect Balance OGCDing, and you're fast, so double weaving's not great for people with high ping. You have 100% chance of getting a chakra during Brotherhood from every single ally as long as they're attacking. So you have a chakra every single OGCD. It is not unreasonable you can fit, there are 2 that you can get in a single GCD, but you just couldn't possibly fit them. So even though you have less OGCDs, you will chakra every single GCD in your opener, between every single one, which is, I think, guaranteed to be 6 or 7 chakras every single
Sounds
time.
like it's going to be really high CPM.
Yes, but it's really low CPM for the next 105 seconds.
That's like pretty much Dark Knight then.
Yeah.
Where you're high CPM for like 60 seconds and you're low CPM for like 45 seconds. And you're high
this
CPM
is high CPM for 20 seconds and then low CPM for 100 seconds, realistically.
I mean, it sounds fun. I'm actually excited.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to say the Uncursed Opener is also fine, where you only Phantom Rush on 1 minutes. which is not exciting, not as exciting, but the opener is straightforward standard. And then on reopeners, you want to aim for more Dragon Kick boot shines. It's pretty likely that common sense would dictate that you would Elixir Field as like your 1 minute blitz because it's a lower potency. But Elixir Field forces you to do 3 of the same chakra, which is Dragon Kick, boot shine, Dragon Kick. You're always going to want to do that anytime you're doing Elixir Field, which means that Rising Phoenix is the one where you can do Twin Snakes Demolish and either a Dragon Kick or a boot shine. And so that might actually be better to throw at 60s, so you can just get that, and then to do literally Dragon Kick, Boot Shine, Dragon Kick, Elixir Field, Dragon Kick, or Boot Shine, Dragon Kick, Boot Shine, Phantom Rush, and drop Twin Snakes for a GCD or something during your actual burst. So it's very realistic that even with PB being 3, that now we still try to do 6 GCD like Dragon Kick, Boot Shine spam on 2 minutes. So there's all those little things like that I think are going to be really fun for it, but it's going to be fucking like chakra overcap is it's overcap because you get 8 guaranteed like every 2 seconds. So they just accept it. It's infinite during that and just roll with it. I don't think you can ask for anything else at this point.
That's probably their solution to like people complaining about potentially having like because before was RNG, now it's like pretty much guaranteed, right? So that's probably a solution to people complaining about how they couldn't leave Forbidden Chakra sometimes because it just procced like unfortunate times. And now it's like you're going to get one every single GCD, so you're just going to be spamming it.
Yep, it's going to be nuts. The big thing, also something I missed in my Meteor build, is Celestial Revolution. They have a single failure blitz where it's their bunny, but it still has potency.
It's an oh shit button.
It's I fucked up. But the good news is something I
fucked up my rotation. Yeah,
is if you have a Lunar Nadi and you Celestial Revolution, it does actually give you a solar. So that was something I didn't see because by default it says lunar. It basically looks at the gauge from left to right. If you don't have a lunar, it gives a lunar. If you do have one, it gives you a solar. But it is a failure condition, and I think that's a little... I get why they do it that way, but I feel like the job would be more interesting if Elixir Field was your AoE lunar and Celestial Revolution was your single target one. I think that actually makes the opener a little bit cooler. It makes it less Dragon Kick boot shiny, but that's probably not the route they're going to actually go. So... there's a lot of really cool things with Monk. Riddle of Earth is still insane. I think Riddle of Wind is strong, but it's just one of those 90s that's kind of like you could have... This literally doesn't change how you play. You press it.
Yeah, you just press it and you're done.
You auto attack. Yeah. It's it. You do have to make sure you have an auto attack uptime during it, though. If you ever press it and you ever need to like back away for like a point blank mechanic, you can't like... because I think auto attack range is further than GCD range by like a Yalm or something. It's been a while since I've had to do it. But you still need to consider that, making sure that you have auto attack uptime at all points during Riddle of Wind. Because anytime you have to back away because of a mechanic asking you to like take a step back, it's going to be extra fucked. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Even the cursed opener, it's really just the pre-pull time that's cursed. The actual GCD order is not cursed at all. So that's I'm excited.
I mean, I think it looks. I've hated Monk since. I like Tornado Kick Monk, but yeah, okay. I mean, I like the Riddle of Fire Monk. Okay, but it was okay too. But Heaven's Word Monk has always been my favorite. So maybe this new one will increase my interest in it.
Good. So
probably still gonna say Dragoon though. Dragoon's always been my favorite.
If it ain't Bork, don't fix it.
Well, since we talked about Dragoon and Monk, I suppose that means next we can talk about Samurai.
Samurai looks disgusting.
Sure does.
Samurai 2-minute burst is an astrologian's like fever dream. It is. Sorry, it's a raid buff job's fever dream.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it is absolutely disgusting in that potency amount.
Yeah.
Good old Hamurai.
I think people are saying it was like almost 10,000 potency or something in that little burst.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 2,400 from Oni Namikiri and Keishi Namikiri. And that's in the original. I know the reopener, you have Shintens to spare, so it cranks that up like a lot. But you have your Kaitas. Although the cursed opener for Samurai
No,
it's not that
go
bad.
there.
It's not that bad, but it's funny. It's fun because the cursed opener for Samurai is pre-pull third eye face pull.
Oh, that's actually something I wanted to touch upon. Yeah, no, whoever designed that, like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? No, seriously.
It fucks
Why?
everyone else's timing so bad if you have to let the Samurai take that auto. It's so not practical, but it's fun.
It's not even about that though. It's just about the fact that it, like, my melee said it was like 4 times more damage from proccing third eye now than it was before. And like you just like want to constantly get hit. Always wants to like stand in like optimization. I don't like back in Verse we optimized Samurai. They were taking bird cleaves left and right just to proc their third eye. And that's what it's going to be like when it comes to Samurai optimization too, where you're just going to want to stand in every single AoE and then have everybody else adjust to you. And that kind of design, I think, and like overall in this game, I don't think it's healthy because like the majority of the content people do aren't going to be in like that static environment. So if you try to like do that in like Party Finder or something, I feel like you're just going to grief.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The big reason,
I think that needs to change.
I think it does too, because the big reason is because if you don't do that, you miss a Kaiten in the opener.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, you have to choose to only Kaiten Higanbana and Oni Namikiri. But if you do this, you can Kaiten Madare, an extra Madare in the opener. So I think that's the big reason why it's even like a thought in people's mind. But that being said, if you don't do that, again, the uncursed opener is very fluid for them. If you kind of follow the same train of thought, you just kind of build upon what you would do now. You generally fit a Higanbana, you fit an Oni Namikiri, a Keishi Namikiri, and I think a Madare Tsubame inside of all inside of buffs. You can still hit everything in there. So that's all the big things. We just have to hope for maybe quick raid wides, because if you have quick raid wides, then you can just use it on the first raid wide at the start.
Yeah, usually that's the case too.
Yeah, so that's I think that'll be the reality, is just making sure it's almost assumed you will always have an AoE to third eye at the start at some point. Listen, people early pull all the fucking time.
I hope every AoE that you
but
can.
You're taking that into consideration. God damn it, I don't like it.
No,
I hope
fucking
every.
like it. This is go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I hope every single AoE in the game continue forward just gives you a damage down if you stand in it now.
Yeah.
Or do.
This is why I call samurais fucking divas, because of this shit.
Yeah, vol ups aren't good enough. You can't discourage somebody by telling them they'll take more damage. You have to tell them they'll do less.
Exactly.
Or kill them, which is less damage.
Oh, I got a bone stack. Nope.
That's why we
heal
call
is
them,
adjust.
Just remember, we call Vuln stacks fun now. We call those fun stacks.
Yeah. Fun.
What the fuck is this, Undertale? What are you talking about?
Like that's
Where
how
was
much
my
they aren't
adloquium?
considered. It's like, oh, I take more. Oh no. 16 fun stacks. Collect.
It's gonna be fun optimizing like a static, but I can't. Just thinking of that new third eye in Party Finder just makes me cringe.
Yeah. For good fucking reason. Oh man. But yeah, Samurai looks like it's gonna be pretty strong. Like comparatively to Black Mage Machinist, Samurai looks like the most cut and dry. Like, yeah, I could just take this instead of the other melees. I still want a ninja, but I could take this and I wouldn't feel that bad as long as the player's skill matched what the job was capable of, I suppose.
Fuck that. Y'all love that lit.
I love it more now, if anything.
Yeah.
Although I play Monk, I don't give a shit. I have boot shine. Fuck you. I don't want your
Yeah,
shit.
there's not, yeah. I mean, actually, it's funny. Yeah. Oh god, man. Oh, they're like indirectly nerfing crit direct hit jobs just by having all these auto crit direct hit abilities on every job.
Yeah, I don't auto direct hit. I'll take a Bard still. Stall.
I heard that.
Stall, it's okay. I also like 3% damage buffs. When you go to Ether, you can play Summoner.
Yo, which one we talk about next?
Just play.
I got words for both. Let's go. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm on my hands. Can you hear this?
Well, that's it for the show. No. I've got nowhere left to hide. All right, I'll give you the not new one first. Then I'll give you Ninja.
Yeah, I mean, both. I have to compare them to each other, so it doesn't really matter which one we pick.
Well, it's Ninja.
No.
Yeah, you want to talk about Ninja?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what the
Can we talk about Shayshit first? My Melee was actually talking about that, how he was basically Ninja Burst is kind of scuffed now because of the way Fujin works.
You mean Raiju? Forked
Raiju. Yeah, Raiju.
Yeah. Do you know what the Cursed Ninja opener is?
No.
So the big thing with Cursed Ninja is that it foregoes trick attack potency for overall fight potency. Is the big thing that it does. So essentially it's like Suiton, I'm just going to name like the GCDs. Trick is after the third GCD in this opener, by the way, in case you're wondering about trick timings. It would be the regular Huton, Doton, Hyde, Suiton. It'd be Suiton, Raiton, not the Kasate. Suiton, Raiton, Forked Fleeting, Hyosho, TCJ, Forked Fleeting, Raiton, Forked Fleeting, Phantom, Raiton, Forked Fleeting, and then you start your 1, 2, 3 at some point after all that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It looks like it's gonna be like really fast paced, but yeah, it's.
I don't want to do all those forked fleet. Like as soon as you are in any fight where you can't be in melee range for any point, you're just like.
Does TCJ Raiton proc?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it does.
No.
It does.
No.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, okay. I was gonna. So you're basically doing 3 or 4 in the opener.
3, yeah. You're doing.
Yeah.
It's the first Raiton Forked Fleeting. Then it's your Hyosho. Then it's TCJ. After your TCJ is Forked Fleeting, and then Phantom from your Bunshin. And then you're doing another Raiton into Forked Fleeting. I think the idea is to hit the Bunshin in Forked Fleeting, Phantom, Forked Fleeting. That's your Bunshin like consumer.
Bunshin doesn't proc off magic though, does it?
No, but you're using it on Forked and Fleeting.
Oh, okay.
Forked and Fleeting are weapon skills on the GCD.
Oh, okay. They're not considered magic?
No, they're considered weapons.
Okay.
Skills. Yeah. So.
I mean, that's okay, I guess. I mean, that's. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a weird design. You think they'd put on like something less common, but I mean, I don't know.
They didn't.
We'll see how it works in execution, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds kind of weird.
Stronger Bava, you use the Suiton from TCJ to Mesui. Mesui just gives
That's
you
also
stronger
a weird
Bava.
change. Yeah. That's such a weird change.
And then you also have to mug, I think, between the Suiton and the Raiton in your opener. So you have to get in range to mug between Suiton and Raiton so you can... Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, because... Oh, yeah. No, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because actually you need to Bunshin, I think, before the first Forked. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's so many things. Oh, wait, no, is that the pot? I don't even remember anymore. It hurts my brain. Just know that Trick was 3rd GCD in that opener, so that becomes standard. Everyone needs to be ready to Trick on 3.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how I feel about those yet. There's a lot of like the thing with that, right? Like it's definitely gonna make it more complex, just from like it's way more restrictive now, right? So that's gonna indirectly add complexity to the job, which is cool for people like us who like that kind of stuff. It's really weird though, because I feel like that directly kind of disassociates with what they're saying about how they want to make the jobs like Shadowbringer's difficulty, when it might be like something like Stormblade difficulty. And it really feels like a lot of these new jobs too are harder in some way or another.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Why are you laughing?
Well, because it hurts my soul to think about. What if you look at the way the jobs are designed in Shadowbringers, and you add the new skills, you can very easily figure out all this not curse shit that makes complete sense for how we were already playing the game, and you could do that, and it would be fine, and it's it. Everyone is taking the changes and making curse shit out of it. is the big thing that I've noticed.
As naturally, right? Like, player base always finds a better rotation than like what the devs intend you to do.
Yeah, because if so there's another route you can go where you forego using forked and fleeting super frequently, and instead you do something that's like a traditional fourth. You could do, and this is something that I worked out after a while, and I had to go through a few iterations. But essentially, you start similarly, like your beginning is almost completely identical. You even do a spinning edge because combos last 30 seconds now, so you can.
That's so good, by the way. Yeah.
You can do, going back to Machinist, you can literally on Machinist now drill, air anchor, chainsaw, do 2 hypercharge windows and not drop combo. So that's...
Can't wait to hold my combo through Blackfire and Fel Ruin and all those trios and Icabus.
Yeah. So the idea is you go spinning into Trick, but you don't have a Shadow Fang anymore. So you would then Hyosho, Raiton, TCJ, Raiton. That's your Trick window. Like if you do the uncursed shit. That's completely reasonable to be able to do. And then you just forked fleeting after that. But that's not the best. So curse shit it is.
Stal's picture on Discord is like exactly how I feel right now.
This is exactly how I feel right now.
So for anyone who's watching, Stal's picture on screen is not her picture on Discord. Her picture on Discord is the ultimate doom and gloom face. And it's like how would I describe it?
It's like this one. This.
Yeah, but with the eyes closed more. It's more like if I'm gonna use it, I don't have a specific anime, but I've seen enough anime clips to make a rap.
It's like if somebody was about to murder somebody in Danganronpa.
It's more like
that's the face I would.
It's more like the ironic, like you look up at somebody and they're like super angry after what you've just said kind of look. Anime look.
Like a disgusted look, yeah.
It's like but like looking down at someone like, what did you just say to me? It's like that, kind of. Yeah. Sly finds a reference every time. I can't. I don't watch enough anime. I couldn't do it. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, Ninja. What else did you have to say about Ninja? Because I ended up just talking about...
Let's get to... I'll make a cross, right? I'll come back to it, because I think it's important to talk about Reaper, because it kind of directly associates with Reaper.
I know where this is.
So if we're done with Ninja, yeah, we can...
I'm scared.
We can move on.
Scared? Stall, do you want to play Reaper? Are you scared to learn curse shit about Reaper now?
Yeah.
Why are you scared?
There is some curse shit about Reaper. I'm not gonna lie. There is. Some...
Every job has been cursed.
No. Reaper is just triple and shroud back to back cursed. That's not the worst thing that could happen.
Just don't hurt my Harvest Moon.
You just want to play it because it has an attack called Harvest Moon?
Yeah, I want to play it just because of that.
Are you just gonna you're gonna go into Duty Finder and you're gonna pre-pull Solso and Harvest Moon and then just charge up another one and then throw it? That's all you're gonna...
Yes, as an Island Sanctuary main, this is something I have to do.
Island Sanctuary. Oh, Stall. Never change. Anyway, don't do it. One button rotation, exactly. All right, so I have things I can say about Reaper, but you seem to have like a very focused point to make.
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes, it
Whoever
is.
created Arcane Crest, that skill is not balanced.
No.
That needs a nerf heavily. That was my thing.
Okay. And you were going to compare it to Shapeshift versus everything else, I assume. That was
I don't know why Shapeshift is still 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're going to have Arcane Crest, which is 1/4 the cooldown and 10 potency less, but also gives basically an indom to the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, that skill is usable in old Ultimates, which is going to break those fights too. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So that needs a nerf, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or a cooldown increase of some sort.
Yeah, 2 minutes, maybe.
60 seconds it would be fine, I think.
Okay, there you go. That's it. Yeah. And that's it. You have nothing else to say about Reaper, huh?
It's really strong. I mean, I like the portal mechanic. That's kind of cool for like... actually, their spell, I believe, is really potent, right?
Harp is 300 potency, yes.
Yeah.
Is that their AoE? Or, no, sorry, ranged ability?
Yes, that is
their ranged spell, yeah.
Yeah.
And which is weird because, like, I was talking with Happy about this, and, like, we were talking about the opener. And ingress or egress procs Harp.
Yeah.
And Happy's like, yeah, you want to do Harp. pre-ingress.
Harp pre-pull, yeah. The idea would be to harp pre-pull because you'll hit and then you'll ingress in, not to use it to get an instant harp, at least for the open.
Right.
However, you could also just ingress or egress out of combat, harp, and then run in. You could also just very equally do that as well. Because you do not have a lot of OGCDs on Reaper, you are completely able to do either. But either way, you should get a harp in the opener. There's no reason not to. The only concern I have is the first GCD being delayed because Reaper's timers are very tight to fit into buffs because they're all GCD based. So even that 1 second delay on the GCD going into the opener could be a potential problem.
Yeah, and that's what you said.
Yeah. So, because
it looks really strong though. Like it has a lot of utility. It's going to be really good in like progression, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Arcane Crest is really good. The only thing that's going to be troll as fuck is when you get healers that don't want to DPS and they just cost you sacrifice stacks.
Yeah.
That's not that big of an issue because you can only get one stack per person who is in your party. You can't get like 2 or 3 from the same person, so you can't have somebody making up for the healer and not giving you a sacrifice stack.
And the sacrifice lasts only what, 5 seconds?
5 seconds they have to proc it. Essentially, they have 2 GCDs worth of time to proc it.
5 seconds.
Yeah. So if you ever have a really lazy healer, it might not be great, but it's otherwise it should be fine.
Yep. It's the same with Monk, actually, right?
No, because Monk actually, because you get 8...
It's because you overcap.
Yeah, because you overcap so much, it actually doesn't matter at all.
Oh, yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. But it's also
only actually going to be
like a 30 potency loss. And honestly, again, the odds of this happening are so slim. Like, you have to have a healer who casts nothing because nobody's taking any damage. Not just hit the boss.
Think of like burst windows that happen during like AoE damage, right? Like there was one on Titan, for example, where one of the final bursts encompassed the enrage, so healers won't be able to, proc as many, what are they called, immortal sacrifices for the Reaper there.
I'm pretty sure that a healing GCD does still proc it. I think
way.
I think
that'd be cool.
I think it does. So I'm talking about like when you're using it casually in like dungeon content where people are just like super fucking lazy.
Huh.
I think if it does have to hit, then yeah, that is a problem. I don't remember. But I think it, in fact, I'll check the tooltip again right now. I think it does say that it has to hit the opponent in order for it to proc. So let me double check.
It says successfully land a weapon skill or cast a spell.
Yeah, it says cast a spell. It says so that's the ambiguity to it that I think.
You probably have to wait till
Endwalker, tested it. Yeah. It does say just cast a spell. So if it goes by exactly the tooltip, then a healing spell should proc. I think they understand that that's a reasonable thing, because as you said, that situation very much happens where there's no way you're casting a broil or casting a malefic or something like that. So
yeah, like the end of Oracle 2 happened where
I will say,
like towards the very end.
Going back to Astro and Sage, I mean Numa and Macrocosmos would fall in line with that since they are off. I love that they did. I want more of that. More going back to healers. A GC.
I like multi-purpose tools like that. Yeah.
Because you do not use it for damage in single target. Yeah, in a dungeon you'd probably just use it because on trash.
Oh yeah.
But who gives a shit, right? It's dungeon. But on a single target boss, you are using it as your GCD to deal damage. It's forcing you to make the decision to use your GCD on not a glare, essentially, or not a malefic, or not anything. It's forcing you to make that decision, and then giving it a multiple purpose. I think they need more of that.
In fights like T2, where it's 2 target, that's also going to add some interesting like micro optimizations. So like, man, I want to hit like here, so I can get like an extra use, and like, yeah. Well, that's what it is, right? Hey, that was good.
Technically, a micro optimization was also the pun, to be fair.
Yeah, because that's is it called like Macrocosmos as the buff?
Yeah.
Macrocosmos and Microcosmos. This show has really been me and Momo talking and you two sighing. Except in range physical. Stal's like it's past 5 in the morning, and this is perfectly fine.
Oh, it's almost 6. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it is almost 6 a.m. That schedule you got.
It's fine. I can get breakfast. That's pretty good.
That is a big pro. That is indeed a sigh of the realm. True.
True and accurate.
Yeah, Reaper's big thing is just a lot of its kit is loaded onto the GCD. That's the big thing that I think kind of, it's not overlooked, but I don't see anyone really talk like, oh my god, that's such high potency, it's so cool. I'm like, yeah, it's all on the global cooldown. That's why. That's, again, it goes back to that. Everything that's off the global cooldown for them is, like, Lemire Slice is 200 potency. That's like their big Enshroud OGCD. It's like it contributes 400 potency to every gauge use versus the, like, 1,000 from Communio and the, like, 540 that comes from all the GCDs. It's like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's also intuitive, fun, and not too ping unfriendly because of how much GCD use it is. The only thing is Lemire Slice, and that's just, you'll use it twice every time. There is some double weaving stuff that could happen, but I think it's pretty high ping friendly despite it having that kind of machinist vibe. Same with Summoner, honestly, having their Garuda skills being kind of a machinist vibe also.
And hardly anything breaks a combo. That's another good thing about fucking Reaper. Like, hardly, like, I tried. I was, like, really trying to break a combo by doing anything. Hardly anything breaks a combo.
There's one thing that breaks the flow, and it's if you go into Enshroud with any Soul Reaving stacks.
That's true.
It will get rid of your Soul Reaving stacks because you're using those skills. So that is the only consideration, and that is minor. You shouldn't be going into Enshroud
Very
after
minor.
using that anyway. So
no.
I think people should be very excited about Reaper. It'll that and Summoner, if you want to play a fast feeling job, but you're afraid of your ping, these two are jobs I think you'll feel comfortable on. Just not Machinist. Definitely not Machinist. Oh man. Definitely not Gunbreaker either. You are 100% fucked with high ping now on Gunbreaker. Do not do that. Yeah, but Arcane Crest. I wasn't that excited about it when I first saw it. I remember in my video, I'm like, yeah. And then I thought about it more. I'm like, wait. This is pretty good.
Why? Yeah, it's like, why is the Shade Shift but a little bit weaker, but on 1/4 the cooldown?
And with healing.
Yeah, and with like a AoE heal.
Don't worry, maybe Shade Shift can just give you forked and fleeting Raichu.
Yeah, I mean, the AoE heal is arguably stronger than the mitigation aspect.
Stall is like, don't say that.
No more forked and fleeting Raichu, please.
I mean, did you really need Aeolian Edge? I'm just saying. There were other
Actually, no. When you think about it too, Ninja's like the like least benefactor from Bloodbath too.
Didn't you say
so like
that
it's just
like
like
10 minutes ago?
Yeah, but when you compare it to like Reaper.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Reapers. And
so
Shroud,
it's just like,
and Shroud Bloodbath is pretty fucking stupid. Although Communio is a spell.
Yeah, it is a spell. It's like 1,000 potency, right?
Yeah, 1,000 potency spell. So there is that. But it's gonna be fucking ridiculous. I will say one thing doesn't make any sense on Reaper. There's one thing that it doesn't hurt the job, but it doesn't help the job. Why does Bloodstalk transform into another skill that has the exact same
I don't understand that.
It's cool. It's way too dank. That's definitely what it is. It's definitely way too dank emote that I don't have enabled. I don't. There's no good reason. I think the animation is actually different specifically to make it like look cooler for like the slice and like the two slices being back to back. But that's it. So enjoy, I guess. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't play it, but I mean, it looks cool.
Sad face.
Oh, the sound effects are really good too.
Yes, the sound effects are fantastic.
Smells really good.
I might play. We'll see.
You already have the gear. I already checked it out. 2.46 is fine. They lose a little bit from Enshroud, the value, but you could still do it at 2.46. In fact, I think 2.46 is a little better. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
2.46 Reaper. Worth.
Like pretty confident.
AOE, and one thing about Reaper, another thing about Reaper, the AOE feels good too. Like it just feels like
better than Dragoon.
What's Dragoon? Stop. First of all, stop. No. We just improved ours. It's okay.
Yeah, so I was saying, like Dragoon's pretty good.
Yeah, for when I did AOE in the dungeon stuff, it just felt so good. And I'm like I I just had so much fun just going around doing AoEs and mobs and shit. And, like, and having a AoE debuff as well with Whirl
of Death is ridiculous.
I love Whirl of Death. Holy shit.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, that applies the 10% damage buff you get, the Reaper themselves get, and any target that dies gives you Soul Gauge.
Yeah.
So it's like they yoinked Soul Survivor from Dark Knight and gave it to Reaper.
And made
Reaper. Yo, that's messed up.
Well, it's like PvP Soul Survivor, I think. Because didn't Soul Survivor just give you the health back and then No, you did. Did you do it?
It gave you mana, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it gave you mana too. But this also increases your damage dealt by like 10% for the whole duration.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's, Whirl of Death is very good. Not to mention Harvest Moon is AoE. You know, they have Grimswathe, they have Gluttony, they have Nuno, they have everything. I mean, to be fair, Dragoon does get their new Wormwind thrust every 6 GCDs in AoE also, because they get it every second Draconian Fury also. So
that's crazy.
That's nice as well. And but overall, while there's some curse shit going on with the jobs, I'd be hard pressed to say that outside of a couple decisions, any decision I think was a bad one. Other than Lilybell. What do you?
A bad decision like made on the devs part?
10. Yeah, you forgot what you call it. Fang Claw and Wheeling. So yeah, 10.
No. On your AoE rotation, you get it every 6.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So you get it more frequently. Yeah. The only things that are a little weird is Lilybell. I think that's a big one.
Arcane Crest.
Arcane Crest being too strong and too many forked and fleetings.
And Third Eye giving us.
No, see that makes it. That's fine. That's our fault. All right.
Okay, I mean that's fair. That's fair.
A lot of these decisions are not like. If you apply them to how we play the game already, they all make sense. But we don't. Yeah. We're not like, oh, let's just keep doing that. Everyone's like, hold on, no.
Oh, Thin Air too. Yeah, Thin Air too.
Thin Air, yeah. White Mage probably has the most questionable updates.
Yeah, I would say it has the most to be improved upon for sure.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just
boring.
Something's concerning. That's not boring. It's fine. It's fun.
It's just the changes to everything else.
Yeah, I mean, White Mage is one of those heals that didn't really need. Like it's the same as Scars. Like they didn't really need anything to emphasize upon. The thing is, White Mage's biggest strength is their GCD healing, and like the Thin Air thing. The Thin Air change is like it kind of it goes against what White Mage is like known for being good at, which is the only thing they're really good at, which is like reactionary healing, right? And like so that kind of just it's weird.
A little weird, but either way, I mean, I think the curse shit that you just need to eliminate it and we'll be fine. Make shit only usable. I hate to say making IR usable only in combat, but because people like to anime the fuck out of shit and just decimate through towns, but it might need to happen. Listen, you know how upset warrior mains will be if they can't just inner release and then spam decimate in Charlene? Come on now. I know my warrior main friends well enough. They want to do it. They definitely want to do it. But they might have to just in combat change a ton of shit. So even if it's less efficient compared to what you could do with the cursed openers, it's just that's what it is. It's just no curse shit. Please.
Yeah.
And Red Mage, I'm sorry, no matter what they do for you, you are fucked. I'm just letting you know right now. There is I don't think they can do anything to uncurse Red Mage.
Can't they just get rid of the charges on their stuff?
I suppose, yeah. They just take away mobility. Oh, they're going to be like, yeah, we're just going to take away this extra mobility we gave you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. That's the thing, though. Is it really mobility? Because, like I've said, like I don't really think there's any spots ever in a fight where I'm like, having 2 core cores would be really good here. Or having, like, 2 displacements or anything like that would be really good. It's just like...
I guess someone said, IC, Inner Chaos, eating IR stacks kind of stops the curse shit. No, it doesn't, because you do it at 15 seconds in pre-pull, so that you can do 1, 2, 3. The only problem is Infuriate, but I think people are assuming that you'll get an extra one overall. There's some weird shit I've seen with Warrior that has been justified to some degree, and I'm like, I don't want you to justify this. Don't do that. Don't justify this at all.
Okay, Darknet doesn't need to suffer with that, so...
I saw one for Delirium also.
No, I'm saying they don't need to worry about Infuriate.
Oh, yeah, you're right. More cursed. Got it.
I guess. Yeah. So what, you'd be getting 6 blood spillers? Plus, the thing is, right? Dark Knight didn't really lose anything. They just got stuff. And like Dark Knight's like pretty much double weaving for like the first 6 or 7 GCDs. So like it's just gonna be even more intense now. Like their damage and their buffs is it's probably gonna be massive.
And their shadow also has Shadowbringer too.
Yeah, that's an extra hit, right? Or no,
well, it replaces Flood of Shadow, so it's just a potency. It's a potency upgrade. Blood
So
Weapon is fine, guys. Copium.
Sag.
Where are you?
Sag, Madge, definitely not Okage or Glad.
Just run 2.38 Dark Knight forehead, then you will never have blood weapon issues.
When do you think we see paladins instead of getting rid of a Holy Spirit, there's meld spell speed smile?
No, never.
Please no. Please no.
I remember for memes back in Stormblood, I melded all spell speed on Bard to see how low I could get my songs.
Oh my god, yeah.
Spell speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It only went down for like 3 seconds.
Hey, across a fight, that's like one more ballad spell. That's like one more. You'll be all right. Okay, well, this show went on. We could say a million more things. I'm sure people get like, how did they not talk about this? Yeah, well, the show's been going for 3 hours, so if you have that to say, shut the fuck up. We can literally have to stop
we love
the show
you.
at some point.
We love you. Thank you so much for watching.
But also,
Yeah,
if
God.
you're complaining that we missed something, shut up. That's it. Listen, I'm not messing around anymore, man.
You could say White Mage has some glaring issues.
Oh my.
So that's our show for today. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Really appreciate it. Thank you to our guests, Momo and Stal. Really fucking appreciate it.
I like that one.
Why do you like that one? That one's too easy. That requires no thought. That requires no thought. I gotta find the one from yesterday. I spent about 15 minutes. What do you mean what? You know that didn't require any effort in your mind to come up with?
Says the person who said magic for magic barrier.
And you had to figure it out. That proves how good it was. It was subtle.
That was only because I didn't really think of magic barrier. I forgot the name for a second.
That's not my fault.
What are you doing, Sly?
What you just said is the equivalent of saying, why don't summoners get invited to parties? They ruin everything. That's literally the equivalent of what you just said.
Yeah, like, why are ninjas always on time?
Yeah. Why they're right on time, exactly.
Right on time, yeah.
Yeah. See? Why would summoners make good models? Because they have nice physique.
Bruh.
They're all so easy.
Bruh.
Anyway. I think their physique is anything but fine. Yeah, true. They really sucker. Anyway. Moving on. So you guys, thanks for coming on, Stal and Momo.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Fun.
What?
Thank you.
Thanks, Stal.
Yeah. Thank you, Stal.
No. Like, Stal. You know what? No. You get, they've been doing theirs. Like Spider-Man rule. Everybody gets one. Do you have a pun that you want to let out before you make it a good one?
I don't. I
Would you like to
actually
improv?
don't. Wait, what?
Did you catch that one, Sly? Okay, should you say it again?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear it? Yeah?
Again.
What do you say?
Momo doesn't want to say it again.
I said, would you like to improv?
Momo, thank you so much for being here.
That was a real sly way of doing that, Momo.
Sorry. I was just trying to jump on the hype,
It's so much hype. Your spine might shatter. Or we're just gonna sit here and wait for everyone else to just say puns. Is that what's happening? So Stal, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
Fuck.
So Stal, all right, let's do sign offs. I guess Stal, where can everyone find you at?
Twitch.tv/Stal, Stalala_ on Twitter, and Stalala on YouTube. Yes.
Anything else? Any plans for Endwalker streams? You can't say a schedule. That's impossible.
I'm gonna skip all the story though.
Okay, so it'll be friendly, stream friendly.
Kind of, yeah. I'm not intending to look at the story till next year.
Okay, there you go. So Stal streams whenever she is awake, and won't be doing the story, and is dancer main sad face. Apparently, those are the 3 things. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe, hopefully, Bard main.
Okay, hopefully Bard main. So dancer main. Got it. Anyway.
Man.
I just want to hear Stal. I just want to hear her sigh. There's so much emphasis on the sigh. It's just maximum sadness. Well, thank you again for coming on.
Thanks.
And if you think of a pun, feel free to DM it to Sly. I look forward to it. Momo.
Hi.
I'm scared to let you speak, but
Why?
because I feel like Sly's gonna leave before.
I mean, it could be worse, right? I could be like fold, you know?
Don't. He's the one who keeps telling me to get fold on State of the Realm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's not an
I don't know if you
invitation.
could. That's too much chaotic energy.
That's one way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah.
You really got a chaotic spring. Anyway, moving on. That's it.
I mean, you can catch me, twitch.tv/ffxwmomo. Same with Twitter, twitter.com/ffxwmomo. And YouTube, youtube.com/ffxwmomo. Trying to think of anything else to say. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a hot shot in the community.
It's a machinist pun.
Okay, I can't think of any more puns.
It's alright. You were really
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Nobody caught that one from me. Good, moving on. Hi, Sly.
I'm here. Hi.
Hi, what's going on? How you doing? Where can they find you at?
On the internet. No. You can find me on twitch.tv/Sly, aka Grey Fox. You can find me on Twitter at Sly the Fox. We're getting down to the nitty gritty where the week after next, I literally won't have time to do anything between then October 27th and Endwalker. Past that, I still won't have time to do anything. So, next week, doing a subathon. After that, I'm taking a sort of mini staycation because I'm going to need it because those are going to be the only days I'll get off in the next 3 months, probably. So, yeah. Just waiting on Super Robot Wars 30. After that, SMT5, which I'll have the shotgun right before Endwalker. So, yeah. Pray for me. Haps, can you tell them where they can find you without the use of a pun?
Damn it. Fuck.
Yeah, we gotta stop stalling.
Got him! Fuck!
There it is.
I heard that!
There it is.
Okay, that was your one. That was your one. I asked for it.
Sly, I came up with about 6 puns in the time you were doing your outro.
I know.
Same. I'm
I
just thinking
know.
of all these different puns.
I thought you said you went on staycation. I was like, so it'd be a little elusive for a little bit. Got it. All right.
You could say, I think Sly's gonna be infuriated right now.
He's definitely
he's
definitely this look that he's giving me. It's stern. It's like a dragon sight.
Yeah. I think you just need to shake it off, Sly.
Tell them where they can find you, Haps.
Alright, I'm done with this Kurthan torment. Anyway. So you can find me, Mr. Mr. Happy 1227 everywhere. That's it. And I'm in 14 mode, which sucks because I actually want to play some other stuff, but I'm just refusing to make time for it. Fortunately, tomorrow I don't have to think about what I'm going to be doing because we have the first of not however many days of rich tea because that starts tomorrow. That's what it is. It'll be.
Yay!
I'm not saying our name for it, Momo. While you're here, I'm not doing it.
Can I say it?
Don't say it.
Can I say it?
Don't say it.
Can I say it?
Don't say
Say
it.
it.
Can I say it?
Do it. Do it.
CBT. Come on, it's good.
Not for what you want it to mean.
What?
Don't you what me? You know how I know when you know exactly what I'm talking about? When you yell.
It's okay. We're gonna really start Inner Beast. It's gonna be good.
I think Rich has us by the balls tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you go. I can even pun off that. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, we're gonna be spending quite some time working on that. I was working on my Black Mage Bis today. We're going to be doing not super long hours because not everyone can afford to do the super long hours, but it'll just be an event over time. Pretty much every day possible will be in T trying to finish Rich's triple legend status. So we can truly upset social media to the maximum this time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to go berserk.
Yeah. I like how you're using skills that upgrade in the like we don't even use that skill anymore. Like it's like a low level skill, and you're still. It's not safe. It's not safe.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's fine. I've got too many. I'll stay. Hold on.
Yeah, we could go all day about puns.
Yeah, we sure could. But that's what I'm up to. I'm just going to be doing a lot of. I've got a bunch of other video stuff. I've got some other projects that I can't talk about yet in the works. I've got new emotes that are going to be coming out soon for Endwalker themed stuff for Twitch. So if you're a fan of things like that, I already showed them off a little bit earlier. I might show them off in post as well. But that's what I've got planned. Also, because Stal didn't shout it out, don't forget Stal, Anna, several others are all part of an all women's uwu group that's going to be starting up in about 10 days. Is it on the 25th?
Oh, is it?
I don't remember.
Oh, I guess it is.
It's in the tweet, but my brain is complete. You should probably know that, Stal. You should probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stal.
I need to level my warrior faster, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you do. Yeah, so there is that. So don't forget, a lot of women in our community are going to be banding together, take on uwu together. So don't forget about that as well. Stal will be among them, and will be playing warrior, and is scared out of her mind. So encourage her. I would highly advise.
Oh no.
I say encourage. She says, "Oh no, that's it." Yeah, just boost it. Somebody buy her a boost. Just fix this real quick. There you go. I see you're taking care of Stal. Someone will get you a boost. That's
Wait,
it.
can I shout out something too?
Yeah, what's up?
Free advertisement, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
My White Mage video will be up almost either today or tomorrow.
Oh.
Go check it out.
I was afraid.
Yeah, no. You think it's going to be bad? No.
I did think it was going to be bad, yes.
Oh, no, yeah, no. Why are you have such a bad opinion of me? I'm just hanging out, dude.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. Yeah, so go enjoy that. I was surprised you didn't mention that earlier. That's why I mentioned Stal's thing, because I was like,
I didn't know if I was allowed to.
Well, allowed to? I've just taken 3 hours of your time. No, you're not allowed to. How dare you tell people that you've worked on something and are proud of it, and they should find you and watch it? How so very dare you even consider that? I really want
Yeah,
to
how dare you?
right here. I'm holding back on a pun so bad. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, with that, we're going to move on into a short post show because the show ran very long, as expected it would. But we appreciate everyone taking your time. Thank you again to our sponsor, Steel Series, and over on Patreon. Thank you to them. But we will see you next week for Air Zivia. Don't forget, Sly. Next week is Air Zivia. Why are you doing that?
No, I was coughing.
No, I mean him. Why are you looking at me like that?
No.
Oh.
And I need to get... Where did the outro go? My outro thing changed. Hey! I was supposed to end the show! Why would you do this? My outro thing, like,
see
broke.
you next week.
There it is. There it is. Okay, I fixed it.
Days
Okay.
without incident, 0.
No, it's fine. They
week.
didn't see it, so it didn't happen. There you go. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Going to short post show. Thank you again to our guests, and we'll see you next week with more puns. Love you, Sly.
Yeah.